Welcome back, everyone, to Lesser Known Operators. Today's guest is Paul Heitz, the owner of Controlled Chaos Tactics, a former Green Beret who now resides in South Carolina, giving top-notch firearms instructions to our state and local law enforcement down there. Go check him out. Links to his socials and website, controlledchaostactics.com, are in the show description. I really appreciate you guys. Make sure to like, subscribe, share, comment, do whatever it takes. Get these episodes out there. Thank you guys for listening and enjoy the show. Paul, how do you say your last name?
Yeah, it's weird, right?
Paul
Yeah,
Heitz.
that's straight
Welcome
German.
welcome to Lesser Known Operators, man. That's all right. At least you're not like that Argentinian German or something like that. That's a suspicious version of it. Oh man, I've been excited to talk to you because after you got out of the service, really, you've gone the direction of training the police force.
Yes, sir.
And I don't know if you watched that episode that I had TJ Webb on.
No, I haven't seen that one yet. I got to catch up. I truly got to catch up. The last couple of weeks has been crazy. We've had to reschedule our podcast before. Right in the past.
You hold the record right now.
I know.
You hold the record for most reschedules.
I feel like a piece of shit, but
you're fine.
It was just busy. It was it's a good thing and it's a bad thing. Sometimes it's just like, oh my God, I got so much to get done. But it's been worth it. How about that? It's been a blessing. It has been a blessing to be able to go transfer right into that. I mean, we started it a little bit before, but to go right into that after I retired was like super cool. Super cool. It's like I've never just didn't miss a beat. And it keeps me busy. It keeps me super busy.
You're running classes Monday through Friday pretty much, right?
Pretty much. Sometimes I'll get a week, 2 weeks off, but yeah, it's usually Monday through Friday, and it is just go, go, go. Sometimes we'll do it on the weekends, depending on the department and getting certain locations or manpower. Manpower's always been a thing for law enforcement. So then I'll have to split days. If I go to a department and there's shifts, I'll have to do it one shift on a Tuesday and then go right back out on a Thursday and do the next shift because they cannot get them as a whole and do a one training day.
Yeah, you can't shut down the entire police force and say, hey, go out and do your refresher training. And the one number that TJ had said when it came to training with them was, and I misheard him the first time, 8 hours a month was what they got in for training. And I was like, that's not bad, 8 hours a week. And he goes, no, a month. I was like, oh, I got 8 hours of PT in a week. Oh my God, before,
And some departments can't do it. Literally can't. And you'll go out to some departments and sit there and hear these stories like, hey, when's the last time you guys really trained? Probably about 6 months ago. It's like 6 months ago. You know as well as I do, tactics alone can change in 6 months alone. And it's like, really? You guys, 6 months? That's insanity.
Yeah, and I guess, you get to these higher levels or units, right? Because he was a patrol and then detective K9 and other things, but then he went to Marshall's violent fugitive task force. But bad shit can happen at any of those other levels just the same as they can. And it's just a little more likely, but still pretty likely. And if everybody's pretty much getting that same level of training at kind of the department level, isn't that a little bit worrisome?
Yes. I mean, I've even had
those are the people.
I've had dudes set aside for that training, and they'll be part of something like that task force unit, right? Get a phone call. It's like, sorry, man, I got to leave. No lie, when I first started this out, I'd come out from Fort Bragg, drive out here to the Carolinas, do a training day. Next thing you know, about an hour, 2 hours in the training, they're in the chase, right? Next thing you know, everybody that was sitting in that training room has beat feet to go to that chase or a shooting. I'm like, what is going on here? But
Mm.
it's understandable. They go do their business, do their job, come back. Hey, where'd we leave off on? It's like, right on, let's do that. Not gonna lie, I even jumped in the passenger seat one time. I was like, this is crazy.
Hey, time for a ride
Yeah,
along,
let's
man.
do
Let's
this.
go. You're back in Afghanistan throwing your kid out.
Right.
Oh shit. It's not the same legalities here. So
Very
don't get too
true.
carried away. Um, you've obviously got to train, guys just coming off the street going through the police academy, and then, as you know as well as I do, veterans will get out and say, "Oh, I'm going to be a cop." How far ahead are the veterans as compared to your people just coming through the police academy? Because in comparison, they've probably had years of experience. Is that a good thing or a bad thing as they're coming
It
through?
can be both. It can be both. Like tactics wise, shooting wise, it is because the academies, I don't care where you are, whether it be the Carolinas, bigger cities, bigger states. And I've noticed just by talking to a lot of people, a lot of law enforcement, this training is the same, right? And there's
Mm,
really the lack of training, right? So being in the military, whether you're 11 Bravo, 88 Mike, I don't care. There's that extensive training on just how to handle a rifle or a pistol, right? These these guys and gals will get maybe a week of training, right? And and then it's, hey, take your claw and here you go. Here you go. Here's your pistol. Now go patrol with that pistol. And it's like, whoa, are you kidding me? Just pistol alone is one of those where you constantly have to train with it to be proficient at it. You skip a couple months and it's like, man, it's like back to square one again. And
yeah.
they get that very minimal training, and they're set off on their own to, maybe they'll have to engage somebody, and they didn't even get the fundamentals of the how to handle that pistol or that rifle. But going back to your question, it does help out, and it doesn't with prior military guys in there. I like the prior military. I like that discipline that they do have, the weapons handling that they do have. But it's when you get that one, say you get that one sergeant who's never spent any time in the military, gets that young kid who spent 4, 6, 8 years in the military, whatever his job MOS was. I feel like they're already being threatened, right? That law enforcement who never spent any time in the military. I'll tell you a story. When I got out of the military the first time, I did the Navy, Army Reserves, and I got right into South Carolina Highway Patrol, right? I had a major tell me straight up to my face while I was in patrol school, I hate military guys. And I'm like, whoa, what do you mean by that? Why do you hate? Because he says we're undisciplined, bunch of cowboys. And it's like, I think it's the total opposite. I think we're more disciplined. I saw dudes in patrol school, because patrol school was kind of like a paramilitary. We did, Monday through Friday, lived in the barracks, did PT, school, the whole 9 yards, Monday through Friday. It's like being in the military again. Had room inspections. Shit, I remember seeing dudes who would freak out if some of the cadre would tear up their bed. And I'm like, bro, what are you freaking out for? We fucked up. We're paying the price right now. We got in trouble at the range. One day, just goofing off. Cadre was like, screw this. I'm making y'all run back. He made us run back in Class A's, right? Class A's, just running a mile and a half back to the barracks. I was laughing my ass off because, it's just like being in the military again. I said, this is pretty cool. Shit, about 5, 10 dudes were like, I'm going to quit. This is bullshit. I don't need this. And I'm like, bro, what is going on? We messed up, dude. I said, we got PT in. I think it's hilarious. we all did it as a group. I think I had like 50 cats in my class. I said, we're all sitting here laughing about it. And it's funny to see the prior military dudes who were in my class and the non-military dudes, the prior military dudes, we were just like, this is funny. Sweating our asses off in this damn wool ass uniform. And I was like, well, gotta send it to the dry cleaner again. But I think there's a lot of, I think they feel threatened sometimes. That's what I've seen. They feel a little bit threatened because, I mean, come on. Like I said, even 88 mics, they still have to put up with some bullshit in the military, right? Each and every day.
Yeah.
And I think they have a hard time grasping that.
Yeah, it's interesting because you get out and it's a whole world of experience. It's a exposure to a level of stress that's tough to duplicate in training in the real world,
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
And people tend to dislike or shun what they don't understand, and you can't understand really the military experience unless you really just got to sit down with that person and be like, what did you do? Like, really, what did you do? And then they kind of still won't convey what actually happened in the military because it's tough for somebody to understand, and sometimes their experience sucked,
Right.
I guess. So that yeah, it's just interesting. The reason I kind of went into this or wanted to start this discussion with like the training portion is because you've got to hear it because you have to price your classes, right? Of funding,
Yes.
funding, funding, funding. So you have to be in the range that these police, um, what are they called? What are the different departments
Yes.
they can afford,
And,
right? So you've got you got to know what the money coming in is got to be like. So is that just a thing? Always they're harping on funding, funding,
yes,
funding.
absolutely. That is like the biggest thing is funding and getting that manpower. That manpower. But I've had to deal with a lot of departments with funding alone. You got the bigger departments that have that funding. Smaller departments aren't going to get it. And when I came into this, that's what I had to understand because yeah, you have to. We're driving out there. We're buying all the equipment. We're buying all of this stuff to provide this training. Yes, I have to be able to pay for all of that, but at the same time, and there's other companies that they charge a fortune for a 2-3 day class, and I was like, oh my god, we can't do this. We can't do this in South Carolina. They don't have the funding for it, right? So how do I do that and still make a living out of this? And my biggest thing, as long as I'm making something out of this, my biggest thing is getting that training out, right? Getting that training out. So I'll cut a lot of discounts, but I have to look at where am I going? Okay, if I'm driving 3 hours every time, that's just one way. That's a total of 6 hours of driving. I drive a damn F-250. That's filling it up every single time I drive. So
We got to get you a Prius, man. Come
yeah,
on. We got to get you a nice Prius lifted with the lift kit and big tires on it.
can't put that equipment in there with that electric
No.
engine. But I have to look at that, right? So I got to make something out of it. There's been a lot of times in how we all started this. Buddy of mine were at selection and we were bored one, and this is how it started. I had to go to South Carolina to see my parents for something. And my brother was just getting on the department at the time. He moved from New York and got on with one of the departments out here. And I said, hey, Steve, I'm in town. What are you doing? Oh, I'm here at training right now. I said, cool. Where are you at? So I went over there to visit him, go hang out with him. But it was an old department that I had worked with when I was on the highway patrol, right? So I was just sitting there, and it just so happened to be their SWAT team training that day. They were going through all the motions. The SWAT commander at a time was a good buddy of mine. I've known him for like 20 years. And they went through their motions, and I'm like, he's like, you got anything to add in? And that's when, he opened up Pandora's box for me. And I was like, yes, this is fucked up. This is fucked up. Come on. We're trying to be safe here, right? You guys just run in there like a damn Keystone Cops, you're going to get somebody killed. So started showing them a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And the next thing I know, it took off. And it's like, you know what? Screw this. So at that time, I was at selection as one of the cadre out there. And I was like, go back to group. I'll go back to group, If selection cadre, we're not shooting, we're not doing tactics. So it's got to be on your own. A lot of the other cadre, they would do this, their days off, they were going to the range. Their days off, they were, running with some of their old boys back on their old teams, doing CQB. And I was like, hey, this could be cool, right? So once a month, I started going out there absolutely for free, driving. I think it was like a 2-hour, 4-hour total drive, back and forth, go to the range, go to this. And then my buddy was like, hey, dude, because we worked land nav together. And we had that same rotation. I said, dude, come with me. And let's go hang out with these dudes and stuff like that. And we made this once a month. And we did this for 2 years straight. Once a month, because he was going back to 10th group. I was hopefully going back to 5th group. And let's keep our tactics going. Let's keep shooting tactics. We're still doing PT with these boys, having fun with them. And next thing I know, something happened with me where my retirement was coming up. And it's like, oh, do I go back to group? Or just stay here for another year and a half or 2 years, I think. And I was like, you know what? I'll stay here. Because my kids at the time were living in Charlotte. And I said, no, I'm going to just go ahead, extend, stay out here, retire out here. Cool, did that. And right before my buddy left, he said, dude, we should start our own business. I was like, you know what? You're right. Let's try this. And sure enough, right before he left to go back to 10th group, we started the business. And we started, putting stuff. And it started out with word of mouth. All the dudes we trained at this one particular department started talking to other departments, started talking to other agencies. And I was like, okay, cool. I'm going to start a class. Let's do a class. So I wrote all these POIs, the whole 9 yards, got all these lesson plans. And then what I did too was I turned them into the South Carolina Criminal Justice Academy to get those approved, right? It wasn't just some swinging dick coming out here training a bunch of dudes for no reason, right? No, I want these dudes to get something out of it. So I took all the POIs, all the lesson plans, turned them into the Criminal Justice Academy, got them all approved so they could get something out of it. They get a criminal justice number, they get a certain amount of hours, and then they get a certification from us. So I thought that was pretty cool. And a lot of dudes like that too from departments. They don't want to just give their money and just send dudes to school. They want to get something out of it, right? Whether it be a 24-hour course, whether it be a 40-hour course, they want something out of it. So I did that. I went to the academy, got it all approved so they get something out of it. And like I said, boy left to go back to 10th group, had a class. Next thing I know, there was like 15, I think 18 people in this class. I was like, oh my God, how am I going to do this by myself? 18 dudes. So the department we were training at for those 2 to 3 years, they hosted the class for us. And I was like, whoa, I can't do this by myself. And so Tom, I was working with Tom at selection at the time. I said, hey, dude, you want to come do this with me? He goes, yeah, cool. Send him the POI. He looks it over. We go to the range. We go do all the shooting drills. We do the PT. We do the CQB together. And we go and train this. But the funny thing is, very first class, Tom gets hip surgery. Right?
Okay.
He gets hip surgery. I take him on that Friday. We got a class on Monday. I take him Friday. It's one of those outpatients. I take him on Friday. He goes through his surgery. He's sitting there. I'm looking at him. I said, bro, are you sure you can do this? He goes, yeah, man, I'm going to do it. I said, right on. Let's do this. So that Monday morning we left. He's got this brace from his ankle all the way to his damn hip, right? And I'm like, you sure? I'm doing it, man. I'm doing it. And by God, he did do it. He wouldn't even let me do it. I said, dude, I'll do the shooting drills for you. Nope, nope, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. He was even setting up the targets. I was like, no, man, let them set up the targets. You just got hip surgery done. But he did. He trained that entire week with that damn brace on. And funny story, that went out all over the place. SF dude out there training with them just got done with hip surgery. I was like, yeah, dude. Oh, damn,
It just increases the lore of the SF guy, and the allure. Um, so, what did your background, because you got pretty impressive military career. Did that give you some clout when you did start
Yes,
getting the word out that you were becoming school?
it did. And, it's just like when we used to go downrange. People see SF dudes and it's like, oh my God, it's like a unicorn. They've never seen one before. And it was the same
I'd
that.
never seen one before.
But yeah, it helped out a lot. But what helped out a lot too was my highway patrol background, because I knew all, like, I left in 2005 from the highway patrol. Been there for 7 years. Met a lot of people right through that 7 years. Well, I leave. I come back damn near 20 years later, and all of these guys that I knew who were on patrol or something like that, these dudes are sergeants, first sergeants, captains, and shit. One of them was one of my sergeants for the county that I worked for. He was the colonel of the highway patrol. And I was like, whoa. So that kind of that helped out too. And plus that background, getting that damn long tab. That really helped out, because they were like, oh yeah, dude, Paul worked for us with the highway patrol. He did a good job with us. Then he damn beat feet and left us. Oh shit, this is what he did, and now he's coming back here. So that helped out a lot, because I got to sit down with like the director of the highway patrol, right? The guy who's in charge of the South Carolina's what is it called? The can't shit. I'm having a brain fart right now. But he's
That's all
in
right, man.
charge of all of these highway patrolmen, right? Funny story is, this dude was my instructor in patrol school, and now he is the director, the chief of staff, who was the chief of staff at this organization, was my sergeant and also the colonel of the highway patrol. And I'm like, damn, this is pretty cool. I'm sitting down with the two head honchos of South Carolina right now. And yeah, so that helped out a lot too. Was that
Yeah.
law
Ev-
enforcement background?
Everybody's going to progress. Everybody's going to progress, and you kind of went off and lived in a fantasy land for 20
Right.
years, and now you come back and everybody's still in the same career. Obviously, they're going to be a little bit higher, and it's crazy, the differences of like special forces, right? Because you got guys that get into deep into the tactical side of things, and then you'll get guys that complete opposite.
Yes.
They're in the, yeah, like desk, intelligence, doing that sort of thing, analyzing things, just all at a computer, and you've got the big wide array. Because people will think those things about me. I'm like, no, I don't like I just had, and I tell them about my career. It just went this direction. Can I do all these things? Probably. I could probably do them really well. They select us based on what they think we can learn along the way and things like that. And I go, no, I don't know how to do any of that shit. That's why I'm not doing it, because those guys are fucking 1,000 times better than me.
And
You
that
know?
was, that's a good point right there, because it's just like you said, we all take a different realm when we put that damn long tab on, right? Well, I'm teaching shooting tactics, mission planning, and all of that to law enforcement, right? My route in SF was, I was an ASO guy. And
Yeah.
I loved everything about it. But I looked at it, it's like you said, you got your CRIF dudes, you got your tier one CAG operators. Those dudes are awesome. They are awesome. But I was looking at that too, and I'm like, okay, every SF dude shoots, right? We shoot pretty darn good too. Whether it be pistol rifle. We know the whole mechanics. We all do CQB, right? So I'm just teaching that level of that. Yeah, I'm never a tier one operator. I was never a CAG guy. Those guys are awesome. I took that route with ASO. I loved it. I loved everything about it. You know, you know that you knew the guys on your team. Our Bravos were such gun guys. It's like, okay, dude, we all carry guns. We literally do,
Yeah.
right?
It gets to the point in group where you go, I get it.
Yes.
I get it. I get okay. If and that happened in the course too. You could tell who was going to go the way of the gun like
Yes.
immediately. I'm like, bro, all my shit's out of the garbage here. Like, I don't care where you got your stuff. It's cool, but we're in training. Calm
Yeah,
down.
absolutely. And that's how I put that perspective of remember how the GBs used to work back in the day, right? I mean, come on. They had hand-me-downs. They made most of their equipment because they made what worked, right? I even see, law enforcement dudes. This dude never spent 5 seconds in the military. He is all gear cleared out. It's like, damn, man, you've spent so much money on that equipment, but do you know the why behind it? Do you know the why behind it? And you remember, it's like training our damn partner force, checking dudes in Iraq. What do you got? What do you got in this pouch that looks so massive and puffy and shit like that? You open it up and it's like, dude, there's not one piece of medical gear in here. What I see is plastic bags. I said, why do you do that? Oh, I wanted to look cool. And see, and everybody got that perspective of looking cool. And we try to, so all the guys who help out, Tom was a Halo dude, right? He wasn't fast roping out of damn helicopters through the skyline and everything. He was a GB, right?
Yeah.
My other boy out there in 10th group, he's a mountains guy, but and the other, now we do have one other guy who's out there. He was a CRIF dude out of 3rd group. So, but he gives that little piece for the company because there's a lot of dudes who do HR in this state. So, and that's what I love about being in that GB, that SF community. Everybody brings something to the table, right? Somebody, one of our medics on my team, he was a carpenter by trade. He was a better builder than me, and I was an 18 Charlie. It's like, all right, dude, show me how to do this because I totally forgot how to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Everybody's got their skills and things like that. I mean, uh, I loved the Charlie course because I knew all the shit already for the construction portion, and it worked out well for me because the casualty didn't fuck with me after I was done with construction,
Right.
like at all. Are you? I wouldn't say preference, but when you get a class and it's a normal department versus your higher performing SWAT unit that's coming in, do you kind of get a little more excited because you're gonna be because they're gonna be more switched on than your normal patrolman is, right? Is it a little more of an exciting
Yeah,
experience for you
yes.
guys from the instructor perspective? Yeah.
Yes, because then you're not really starting from square one. Okay, just like we talked about earlier, just something as simple as weapons handling. I don't have to worry about that when I'm dealing with the SRT SWAT guys. I don't have to deal with that. But there's been times too, a lot of these departments are just getting started, right? So their boy might pass a PT test, do a qual on the range, and they immediately send them to us. And it's like, whoa. But I think we all do a really, really good job on getting them up to par while we're right there. While we're right there at that time and place, we get them up to par because the course it's run just like we trained. The crawl, walk, run. Day one is just flat range, and the boys, the instructors go step by step on the proper ways of doing everything. And then, the next day we're going to start moving and shooting. And then the third day, that's when we're going to start introducing you to CQB and prior to that, we'll do a stress shoot. And then Thursday, they kind of chill out and we're just doing CQB all day and medical training. And medical training is just proper tactical tourniquet, right?
Mm.
And then day 5 is, more CQB and full mission profile, doing FMP with them, because we were all sitting there, myself, uh, Tom, and Goose, were like, what else can we give these dudes? Because I've looked at other SWAT courses, SRT courses, and they'll have an ungodly amount of rounds to shoot, right? And I'm like, what are they doing? So does the shooting drill make sense to when they start going in there and operating in rooms? So we, as a collective whole, had to sit there. Shoot, I've changed my course. I'm going on my 10th course right now. I've changed it three times, because some of the drills did not fit for what they were getting ready to do when they go into the rooms. Well, I'm not going to put a senseless drill of just shooting bullets down range and not give them the why behind it. So we finally got it narrowed down where all the drills will transfer to when they start room clearing.
Mhm.
And those SWAT operators really, really picked that up really well. And it is exciting, but I do get excited also when I train the patrol guy, because that guy, you're starting from scratch, right? Because, so we had our long tab, right? Oh, we're the big man on campus. Just like the SWAT operators, they're going to want to act like they're the big man on campus when you got the patrol guy who really knows nothing about room tactics. And when you could just mold it, because you'll see them. I mean, their eyes are wide and they are watching every step. I've seen dudes take notes. No bullshit, pull a little pad in their pen and they're taking notes while we're trying to show them just how to enter a room, doing a threshold. Yep. Doing a threshold assessment, something. They're taking notes. And it's like, hey, right on, man. I'm digging this. That's why. So I'm both. I could, for that question, I get excited for both.
And I'm not shitting on police or anything and how things are done, right? There's timelines and there's budgets and there's, you know, everything's directed from town hall of what they get and how everything's parceled out, and they still have to maintain security at all times. That's the base of it. They still have to maintain. That's all the cool guy training. Do you have any visibility on the soft skill training that police do or do not get?
Like what?
Admin stuff, dealing with people,
No, no.
the counseling side of things,
No,
a
and
person that do you have any? Do you hear stories about that
yes,
side of stuff?
and so I've even brought that to some of the departments, right? Just like, and we'll just use the SRT as an example. Um, a lot of these dudes take a PT test, shooting drill, maybe sit in for an interview with the commander and their team leaders, right? And or there'll be some that don't even take anything, decided they want to try out, and their tryouts consist of let's just hang out with the SRT SWAT guys, right? And that's where I've seen, like, for us, we had counselings constantly. You go to a team, your team sergeant, team leader sitting down there with your counseling statement. This is what we expect from you. This is what you're going to do. And what are you doing? You're signing that. Roger that, sergeant. That's what I'm going to do. And I don't see where a lot of this for law enforcement, and maybe some departments do that depending on the size and stuff like that, but some departments don't do that. Mentorship is big for me. One of the departments I work for right now, I'm one of their mentors. If one of their officers is having a hard time with whether it be patrol or anything, I'm his mentor, his or her mentor, to show them, hey, this is what you need to do to get to this. And that's pretty rewarding for me, being that mentor for some of those officers, just kind of guide them in that right path, because we all had a mentor. I had a mentor when I went to my first team. It was always our senior. Our senior was our mentor.
Yeah.
And on my first team, I had a really good senior that I'm still friends with to this day, because he showed me what it was to be a Charlie. This is what you need to do to be an 18 Charlie for an ODA. And then had a mentor when I got into the ASO world, had a really good mentor. It just, this is what we need. This is what we're looking for. It's like, hey, right on. Shoot, going to just being a cadre at selection. Oh, you're already a long tabber, been at group for 10 years, over 10 years now. And it's like, I'm getting a mentor at selection. He was a great mentor. He taught me how to damn teach in front of 350 people. Because we're used to dealing with a squad of dudes or maybe even a platoon. But he taught me how to teach in front of 350 kids. And it's like, whoa, this is crazy. Shit, I remember the first time I did it. I had damn sticky notes all over the podium so I wouldn't forget how to damn teach them how to do scales and distance.
Mm.
But he was a really good mentor. So I got to do that for law enforcement now. I got to be their mentor to make them better officers. And that's pretty cool for me. I really like doing that.
That's one thing the military, pretty much all over, doesn't matter what branch, does really well. The NCO Corps, right?
Yes.
Leading and developing soldiers. Is there, I kind of know the answer, but is there anything that you've viewed as far as structure wise in the civilian sector and law enforcement that mirrors that to any scalable comparison?
Some departments, yes, they will have some good training officers. They'll have some good, whether it be a patrol captain, lieutenant, and things like that. Some places, not so much. You'll have your like training officer. I know one really good training officer. He is taking it a step further to make them think outside the box. Just something as their training scenarios for traffic stops. Hey, how do you need to have your body bladed? Where do you need to make your approach? He really goes into depth over that. And I love that. Then you go to some departments, all they care about is checking the block, and that's it. And I was like, ugh. So then you wonder why you have such a problem with some patrol officers who aren't going to make it. Does he have a good, Manning? I've noticed that a lot about Manning for law enforcement. It's pretty much he graduated. I am going to put him on a shift that has the least amount of people. But what about the patrol sergeant? Is he a good mentor? Is he a good teacher? What has that patrol sergeant done? Is he just a guy who said he's going to get in law enforcement, never been to any schools, never been to any type of training except for the allotted or known training that the departments give? Because I've seen that one too. It's like, or has the officer, that sergeant, been an FTO at any point in time? Right. And that's where I see that disconnect with law enforcement, such as, and with us, because what was our sergeant major in charge of? Manning.
So I don't know. Sometimes I'm not sure what he was doing in there. He was sure good at it. That's for sure. It depends on which sergeant major you're talking about.
Right. And I was fortunate enough. All my company sergeant majors at fifth group was awesome. They knew how to man. They didn't care that 2-6 didn't have enough people. He cared. Now, I remember one time, one sergeant major, great dude, but it was all about getting that damn dive team, getting that damn dive team up to par. And it's like,
that dive team can suck my dick.
Yeah.
That's what I think of the dive team.
Yeah, but I loved all the dudes on the dive team, but that was just not my, that was not my thing. The dive team always had the cool missions. It's like, why? Yeah,
I'm a little biased. I'm a little biased, but anyway, continue.
but
Yeah, fuck
that's the
whatever. Fucking
one
cool bullshit.
thing I've seen is the manning, because you like South Carolina is kind of weird. Instead of like guys going to an academy for 20 weeks, a lot of the portion of the academy the training officer will do with that new cadet, right? So whether it's shooting, legals, he's going over. I think they got him for like 8 weeks, 8 weeks for these new trainees before they go to the academy. So when they go to the academy, they've already checked the block for all these subjects, and then they just have to finish out 13 more weeks at the academy. And I'm like, God, you're putting of a lot of work on that training officer to get these dudes up to par to go to the academy. And then if you get, now like I said, you'll get some training officers who will think outside the box and give them more. Like one of the training officers I know out here, he goes well above and beyond. I mean, some of his trainees will get damn 1,000 to 1,200 rounds from their pistol before they even go to the academy, right? Then you'll have some training officers who just are going to check the block for the Criminal Justice Academy, and here's 50 rounds to practice with. We're going to qual you with the next 50 rounds. Right on. You got your bullshit 180 to pass. Now I'm going to send you off to the academy. And it's like, ugh.
Oh, most people hear that and think, that's great. Good, good on them. But what pops into my head is government doesn't do anything unless they fucking want to or have to, right? So what caused an incident in the media or a death or an injury to cause them, or they were spending too much sending cadets to patrol or police officer academy, and they were failing out. So now they're like, well, we got to cover our ass. That's where my mind
Oh,
goes.
absolutely.
Is they're not doing it because they want to do better. They're doing it because something was fucked up and they have to react to it.
And that's
Kind of a
where,
cynical way of thinking
but
about
that's where
things.
that checking the block comes into play. That as long as they check that block, they're good to send
Yeah.
them through the academy. And it's like, man, you gotta teach them more than that. You got,
It works until it doesn't work, right?
yeah, and it's like you understanding what it's like to be a cop, a law enforcement officer, what it's like, and I've heard horror stories where a lot of these dudes or gals would go to the academy and like, what's this Monday through Friday crap? You're at the academy, man. That's what it's all about. Or um come to find out they didn't know they had to work nights. Nights. It's like, what? You telling me you never knew you had to work nights as a law enforcement officer? Are you crazy? So that blows my mind. And like I said, didn't mean to get off topic, but manning is one of the things I've seen that they really lack on. It's like they just don't know where to put these people. Are you getting the feedback from the training officer who had them for 8 weeks? Are you getting any feedback from the instructors? Because most of those dudes know the instructors out there at the academy. Did you get any feedback, or are you just going to go by a piece of paper? Oh, graduate, South Carolina Criminal Justice Academy. Boom, he's good to go. And then, do you know any personality traits? Is this individual going to be able to work with this patrol sergeant? And I've seen good things and I've seen absolute nightmares. And then it's like, where do you go from there? So this patrol sergeant just absolutely despises anything that breathes. How the hell is he going to work with anybody? Right? Put him with the right people. If you have to swap another person over, then do so. And I notice a lot of whining in law enforcement. Like with us, it was you do it or you don't do it. But if you don't do it, you're going to suffer the consequences, right?
Yeah.
In most cases in our career.
Yeah.
There it's like, just go put them with somebody else. Or okay, have you counseled the sergeant, the patrol sergeant? Have you counseled him on his habits of why can nobody ever work with you?
Yeah.
Oh no, he's fucked up. No, dude, maybe you are. you know?
Yeah, if you're in charge, it's your responsibility.
That's
And that's why I'm bringing all this up, right? I'm not pointing things out to shit on people or something like that. A If you're a police officer, even if you're not in a leadership position, you are in a leadership role because you're in that car by yourself and you're going to have to make decisions without any guidance and without anything based because you're the boss of you at that time. There's nobody else telling you what to do. So take the training seriously. Take listening to the first 45 minutes of this podcast seriously and think about, what do I need to do so I can get home safely? Because you don't know what you're stepping into every day. Take your training seriously. Take all that little shit that you don't think is important, take it seriously, because it could, I mean, it's one thing if you get killed, right? That's bad enough. But if you get somebody else killed, you have to live with that
yeah,
and things like that. And just be
absolutely.
cognizant of everything that you have going on and learn from the people around you. Don't just have a bad attitude and things like that. It's easy for me to say down in the basement but my career is completely separate from theirs. But there's always similarities that cross over
And
from one career to the other.
and you're absolutely correct, and that's what I've seen. You can see who does not want to be there. It don't matter what topic you're talking about, whatever it is, they're still going to have a piss poor attitude about it, and it blows my mind. It's like a range day. It's like you get your day is consisting of shooting drills, or and just getting used to that firearm, and you see attitudes for that, and it's like, bro, you know what you're doing. What would you rather be doing right now? you know Learning this life-saving skill that's getting thrown at you, or just go home and hang out. That's why I miss, I'm old school. I'm 50 years old. I miss, where we didn't have phones everywhere. It was just, day of training was a day of training. Day of PT, you're PTing. Nobody's sitting there fiddle fucking with their phones. You're doing PT. Then you're going to get ready to go do this course of fire. I miss those days, because you'll see it. I'll see it all the time. It's like, I've even had to put it out going to some places, like, you're not allowed to have your phone here. Keep it in the car,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I'm tired of these little distractions.
It is, yeah. Distraction. I mean, I noticed, I kind of got away from, but PT, right? Like, in the gym, up in the weight room, everybody's got their phone, and they're on their phone or they're on a machine. I'm like, ah, fuck. I try not to play I got my music on, which is still your phone, but I'm
Yes.
trying not to touch my phone. But when I get in the pool, there's none of that. And now I've got some headphones that can go underwater. So, because I got pretty bored in there, but you're completely detached. Nobody's bothering you. You can just focus on what you're doing and just retach. I've noticed to like that
Yes.
is there's no phones in the pool.
No.
And I've just now realized, I'm like, nobody can get a hold of me down here. This is a place in the world where I'm completely detached. And you're right. People don't remember a time before cell phones when we didn't have that. I'm the last, like, intermediate generation, because I got mine when I was 16, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But that's gone. Everybody after, they only remember cell phones.
Exactly. And
So it's crazy.
like I said, I miss that, because you appreciate that. Because I'm like you, I'm the same way. I set my music, because I got to have music lifting. Okay. You have to have music working out. And I put,
I mean, if the Spice Girls aren't playing while I'm doing a heavy deadlift, I don't know I'm not doing the right thing in place.
just put it away, and be disciplined enough not to mess with it. Because just like training, right? Be disciplined. Like, I can't take a shot if I'm the number 4 man and number 1 is across the hall. I can't take that. I have to be disciplined enough to lock down on what's in front of me. It's the same thing with these damn cell phones. Be disciplined enough to just say no. Just no. It's nothing's It's like I always tell everybody, nobody is that important where we have to be on our phone all the time. None of us. I don't care who you are. Maybe one or
Whenever
two.
I get cut off in traffic, though, I assume it's a brain surgeon on their phone headed to surgery,
Right.
and I just let him go. I go, that guy's really got more problems than I have right now. He needs to get there to save that person. All right. This one thing I didn't get into with Tom because it was early on in me interviewing. I got it written down here. Let's get into selection as a student
Oh,
and selection as a cadre.
yeah.
So, I mean, what? So you went to selection in late '90s?
No, 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 no. 2000 and
Oh no, no. I mean, you went to basic in the late
I
'90s,
went
right?
okay, so I started my career in the Navy. Went in
Yeah.
1992. I graduated high school June 22nd of 1992. I was in Orlando, Florida, June 24th, 1992. Uh, I did. That's all I wanted to do, right? That's all I wanted to do. Hell, I
Hmm.
wanted to be a Navy SEAL. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a Navy
Did
SEAL.
it work out for you?
Oh, hell no. It did not work. Now, I fought. So, went in, did all my thing, ended up having a security clearance violation, right? And it has to do with my mom being from Vietnam, right? Security clearance violation. So, go to my A school, spend 2 years overseas, 2 years in the Middle East. So I caught the very tail end of the first Gulf War. Go out to the Middle East, spend 2 years out there, ended up becoming friends with an EOD dad out there. We worked on my security clearance, the whole 9 yards. I finally get the go ahead to go to Buds. So ended up talking to a dude in Bupers at Washington, D.C., the guys who cut your orders. I ended up taking his place in D.C. for about 8 months before I went to San Diego. Well, go there, and I'm 21 years old and just not mentally there. I think I lasted maybe 4 weeks in first phase. And I was like, whoa, this is too much. You know,
That's a long time. I mean, still, that's a while. You're
it
getting shit
was
on the whole time.
yeah. Well, and to fight all the way there and then go there, and it was like, oh, wow, this is a lot. This is a lot. And
And for those listening at home, right, the major difference is all Navy SEALs are divers, but not all Green Berets are divers. Like if you're a Navy SEAL, you are good in the water and you are a combat diver. That's the big deal. We have a dive team, which is
that's
one out of
it.
every six teams
Yep,
is a dive team. That's it. And but you live, breathe, die the water when you're a Navy SEAL. That's the biggest difference. And they have better publicists and all that with the Navy and things like that. But there's some, yeah, a little more notoriety. But
yeah.
continue. Yeah, sorry to interrupt you
So
there.
yeah, so did that. Ended up getting out of the Navy. My time was up. Blah blah blah. That's where I dabbled in. I got into the Army Reserves. I was a truck driver. Hardly did shit in the Army Reserves. Ended up getting into law enforcement in Virginia Beach where I resided. And then my ex-wife at the time was from the Carolinas, rolled the dice, threw in, put in for the highway patrol, ended up getting hired on the highway patrol. But then spent 7 years with the highway patrol. But again, there was something missing. Something. I'm a Buds flunky. Um, the Gulf, the war's going on, Iraq war's going on, Afghanistan's going on. I'm like, what am I doing here? What am I doing here? So I had a wild hair up my ass. I think I was 29 years old, man, 29. And I said, you know what? Fuck this. I'm going back in the army. I'm going back in the military. Screw this. Um, Even drove to MEPS in my damn uniform, my patrol uniform, and went to MEPS. Did everything, sat there with the lady and to get my job description. I wanted to go to RIP, right? I wanted to be a ranger. Didn't know anything about the 18 X-ray program at the time. Nothing, zero. And go there, and she's like, "Nope, you're not getting that. We'll give you an 11 X-ray contract." It's like 11 X-ray. That's just infantry, right? She goes, yeah, but the x-ray part is when you get there, they'll tell you if you're going to be a Bravo or a Charlie. I said, damn. I said, I have a total of 8 years and 4 years active, 4 years. She's like, I don't care. I said, but okay, whatever. I said, I'm signing it. Screw it. So, they did a transition course back then. So you had to go to Fort Knox, Kentucky and do a 7-week, get you back in the military for all branches of service. Go out to Kentucky, meet all these dudes, former different branches, or just coming back from, getting back into the Army. And then we're supposed to be done at this point, right? All we're doing is going to Benning, gonna be 11 Bravos. We're gonna jump right into week 8 and start being an 11 Bravo. We get there, so all those prior service dudes got separated from all the brand new recruits, right? We're in our own barracks doing our own thing. Come to find out, I was like, dude, what's this 18 x-rays shit? So, oh, dude, that's to be an SF dude, right? Fuck it, let's go. Because, like I said, we were allowed to do whatever we wanted. Just did PT in the morning, and the rest of the day was ours. We went to see the damn SF recruiter. And we're like, you guys want to go SF? We're like, hell yeah. So there's like 10 of us, 10 or 12 of us from these prior service dudes, all put in to go to get that 18 x-ray contract. He goes,
What year is this?
2005.
So did you see my reel that I posted last week about the 2005 cadre at Mott Lake?
Oh yeah,
just destroying cadre.
Oh yeah, it's fact.
Okay,
and that's where I'm going to get into all of that. So
you don't know what's coming for you right now. It's the worst years of the 18 X-ray program.
Clue what's getting, like I said, 29 years old, already had a career, could have kept that career. I'm rolling the dice. So we finally get classed up, and all of us dudes are happy as hell. We're all thinking we're going into the week 9, starting 11 Bravo, right? No, these fuckers put us in week 1 basic training. I was like, dude,
red face.
We just did this shit. We just got our dicks smashed in Fort, because they beat the shit out of us at Fort Knox. They were good drilling sergeants, but they put us to the test, right? And what is going on here? So started, but 3 days into that, right? 3 days. Now, I'm going to they did give us some leeway. Like, we didn't have to qual or anything like that. We were just ammo bitch, just getting dudes ammo. That's it. And, we didn't have our own little barracks. We still stayed in open barracks with everybody, still got smoked, still had to do all of that, but just a little bit of leeway. So day 3 of basic training all over again, the master sergeant from the SF recruiter hands us all these 18 x-ray contracts. So now we all going to airborne. We're all going here. It's like, hell yeah, right on. Oh shit. That was the time for the drill sergeants to beat the shit out of us even more. Because I didn't get put in, how they always had the platoon full of 18 x-rays?
Well, now they do, because Nick Lavery's always out there with them. Every time a group of them go through, he's always there making his reels and stuff.
Yeah, and they're pretty funny too. I like when he goes out to selection too. Nick and I went through SLT together, senior leaders course together. Okay. Great dude. But anyways, go over there. Then we get done with basic training. We go off to airborne school. And then, like you said, we go to Bragg, and it's immediate. That SOP C1. I think I was there for about a week, in processing all of that. And that's all she wrote. It was non-stop brutality. I'm like, what am I doing? I'm 20. I could easily do 3 years, go back and, be a cop again. Go back and be a cop again. I said, no, because I had a good group of dudes. That's the one thing. Our little SOP-C crew was a good group of dudes. So we kind of like just kept us all, in our little circle. had fun with these dudes. They were suffering just as much as you were suffering. So it was great. Then you go to selection and it is brutal. There's none of this you have certain events. It was non freaking stop. Non-stop. And it was like, then I heard through the grapevine that when we got done, we were like one of the first classes they wanted to try the sleep. Well, selection is like sleep deprivation the entire time. But this was like no bullshit. I want to say we got 2 to 2.5 hours of sleep every night. Because they used to you remember they put us on the rocks, standing in formation. I remember standing in formation for 6 hours just to get people to quit. Just to get people
Um,
to quit. It was just like, what are we doing?
I tell people I was from the first easy class of the Q course, so a lot of the stuff that people say happened, I was like, it was ending when I got there, or it just hadn't started yet, and I just had a nice little groove that I just hit the click, and I went right through. And
Nice.
I don't really remember any bad times too much, but people heard about them. Like I missed them by a couple hours once, some bad days, but that was just because I performed well
Yeah.
and I was, gone. So yeah, I kind of weaved through. I still got my beret and I still did everything to standard, but some guys that were right next to me had a much shittier time than I did. And that's just the way it
Yeah.
worked out. But
Hell, I remember talking to some of the SOPC guys who were ahead of us, just telling us the horror stories, the beat downs. And it's like, whoa, what is going on? So we all make it through SOPC. Every single dude in with me, we all made it through. Even some of the dudes who were in my basic got put in the class before us, the ones who got the 18 X-ray contract. A few of those made it, but most of those dudes just quit. They just quit. No performance drops, just straight up, what am I doing? This is stupid. I quit. So then we finally go to selection, and like I said, it was just 24 days. 24 days. It was 21 days of brutality. It was just nonstop because that's when we still had log and rifle PT. I remember being out there. Kind of glad I had rifle PT first because it was still the sun wasn't up yet. It was still kind of cool, even though we went through in June, and because you still had the dew and everything. And then we went through the 3 hours of destruction at the log PT. But the guys who went after us, dude, they come back sunburnt as all hell because we did it right out there on the damn airfield. This is looking like hell. I was like, damn, I'm kind of glad we got this done first. But selection, it was challenging, but it wasn't hard. As long as you did what you already knew going into it, it was going to be nonstop, right? You knew you weren't going to get any sleep. It was just do it. Just do it. And I think, and being with those dudes too, that's what made it fun. That's what made it a lot of fun to get you through all of that BS. And but like I said, selection, it was just nonstop. You weren't allowed to take your uniform top off. You had to have a full uniform the entire time. And like now, where dudes can take their top off to stay cool and shit, I was like, bro, we didn't have that. We didn't have the foam rollers. We didn't have the therapy items. I wish to God we did. We didn't have the ice buckets, like they do now. That's what I saw because it blew my mind. Because when I went back as the cadre now, I was like, you guys don't do log and rifle anymore? Well,
they don't.
no, no, it is when I left, it was that damn, what was it? It was a combat readiness, the CRA, combat readiness assessment. So it was just a giant CrossFit workout where you had 300 people doing it. You had to do what was it, tire flips, ammo can carries, just one big loop, and they had 4 stations. Yeah, they don't do that. The log and rifle was a rite of passage, man. It was, you had to go through that.
That was pretty shitty.
Yeah.
That was pretty shitty part. I know, at least, yeah, I remember go through it, and then we had to switch because the class was so big that there was only so much room on the pits. that for them. So they sent the other half out to the airfield,
Yeah.
and we're out. Then we switched at one
Yep.
point, and I remember I knew it was over when the instructor like finally broke character at the end. He's like, "All right, now quack like a duck,"
Yeah.
and he didn't
uh,
shut the thing off. He's laughing. I was like, okay, maybe it's finally over now, because they all started looking at each other. I'm like, oh fuck, yeah, that sucked. That's too bad they don't do that anymore.
yes.
But I don't know. They probably got some stupid scientific reason why it
And
was.
that's it. That's it. It's all about the science, and it's all about, the sleep. It's like, I remember, like, no sleep. Yeah, we got no sleep, and you were still taking your psych test. You were still taking your uh aptitude test, your IQ test. It's like, I'm exhausted, but like I said, you knew you just had to do it. Hell, plus that was a rest time for you too. I was like, cadre's not
Oh
lurking about.
yeah. Oh, sitting in land nav, because I came from an MOS. There's no knowledge of land
No.
nav. Uh, I just was able to comprehend it, but I learned almost everything about how to pass the STAR exam at the classes beforehand, and that was, you're fighting for your life in there,
Yeah.
trying to stay
Oh,
awake.
and
Just
like I said, when we went through, there was a brief. I think all they did was give us the advanced land nav course, right? I knew nothing about land nav going in there. Just like you, I figured it out. I had a few buddies who knew land nav, kind of, because you didn't learn shit as an 11 Bravo. And I learned enough from them to get by, you utilizing your that terrain association and Dead Reckoning all rolled into one. And, we didn't have those classes like they do now, because when I was a cadre, that's what I got to do. I got to teach that. It was extremely rewarding to do that too. You know, you're up there, like I said, teaching in front of 300, 350 kids who know, some that do and some have no freaking clue. And to be able to see them at the end of the day, after the STAR course, and it's like, right on, man, you made it. Never told him that, but from afar, you were like, dude, he made it, dude, because he looked like he was freaking lost the entire time, but maintained his bearings and got it. So, but yeah, that was so seeing that difference. Maybe it was, to me, it was so chaotic going through selection and then finally becoming, because that's what I wanted to do. I said, if I ever come back to SWIC, I'm going to be a selection cadre, because some guys might think different or shit like that. I liked my cadre. I liked them because they were all different walks of life. Shit, a lot of them were fifth group dudes, and then I ended up meeting them a year and a half later at group. Right? I remember you, dude. You were a son of a bitch. But I had so much respect for those dudes, so much, and that's like, if I have to do this, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to be a SFAS cadre. That's what I want to be right there.
that's where the funny stories are,
Oh yeah,
though, too, because every other phase of the course, you've made it past selection. This is the only phase of the course where there is a huge discrepancy between the worst guy there and the best guy there, and it's not a little bit, it's massive.
yes,
Everybody's a certain standard of GT score and physical fitness, but from the worst to the best, you've got a huge gap, almost comparable to the regular army from the best to the worst. It's a big noticeable thing,
and
and you've got people that don't belong there, and it can be
yeah,
hilarious.
and that's so. But it's like when you got selected too. You remember how they put you in the massive formation? When I call out your roster number, you will go to my left and to your right and get in formation, right? I remember sitting there and they were doing that, right? And you look in that formation because you don't have a clue. You're like, it's like, that dude was a stud, bro. I've known him the entire. I knew him in SOP C. I know him through the selection. That dude was a stud. Then you see another guy. That dude was a turd. Then you get called in the formation. It's like, oh God. I remember that dude. He didn't do shit during team week, right? and then they take your little formation off. I think we were at the old theater. I don't think that it's even there anymore. The old theater, we're all piled in there, and Sergeant Major comes out. Well, you guys are all the ones that got selected, and we're like, oh my god, my heart can start pumping again. And then no bullshit, we all got selected. Go back to Dam, go back to Bragg. Still had your SOPC1 instructors, correct? Smoked our ass for like 3 hours because some dude fucked up on something. I'm like, oh my god, we just got selected. It's Friday. We are this dude is destroying us right now. It's like, oh god, I can't wait to go to SOPC 2. I can't wait to get out of this mess. But yeah,
Fuck
that was it.
that.
And like I said, and the cadre there for my selection, I just had so much respect for them, what they tried to do. Like you said, talking about breaking character. And this dude was hard dude. I think he was a Criff dude out of fifth group. And he broke character, right? And he was like, I just wanted to tell y'all, we got the number one guy last night. And we're like, yeah, everybody's right back into the same role again. It's like, oh, dude, he's back to being a dick. Or the cadre you never knew was out there. And he would just pop up, look at you, write your roster number down, and slip back into the damn shadows. It's like, where did he come from?
It's like WWE, right? Because I was talking to a guy about this last night. Because I've I could be, a cadre, but in real life, I'm not serious at all.
See,
Like just dry, sarcastic sense of humor. But you put those sunglasses on, and everybody's a WWE character and filling a role of being the
see,
bad motherfucker.
See, that was me. I was, dude. That's why I like teaching and stuff. I wasn't the stoic and aloof dude that they wanted. I think that's why I got put on fucking land nav, because you can talk in land nav, you can teach in land nav. Doing the terrain walk or doing, teaching on the stage and stuff like that. I can't be that stuff. If I see something fucked up or funny, I have to say something about it. It's like, hey, stupid, why did you do that? I have to say it, man. I just have to say it. I don't know if it's because I got along with everybody and stuff like that. I was super happy that I got away with that. It's like they wanted, Tom. Tom is very stoic. He could
Yeah.
sit there, like you said, he puts those sunglasses on.
He
Tom will,
just puts that Boston hat on.
yes, and yes, yes. And he is cadre, that stoic and aloof. He is, you are not, he ain't going to break character. He's not going to do anything. And he is really good at it. The team week dudes are really, really good at it, because they'll just sit there and take those notes. I can't be like that. So I think that's why our sergeant major put the right people in the right locations. Because, dude, when I was cadre for the damn land nav, dude, all of them dudes were maniacs. Just funny dudes, just, having a good time, but still did their job. They'll call somebody stupid in a heartbeat. It was great. And it was like, yeah, dude. And, you could talk a little bit more.
We were doing the land nav class, and one of the candidates, they raised their hand and they asked about the magnetic field, right? Of why the compass, just ask why the compass points the way it does. And the cadre goes, hey, you want to answer that, to another one back there, blonde guy. And it was, he just went into, oh yeah, I'll answer it. And then like 15 minutes later, he's explaining like the fucking ionosphere and like the layers of the earth. And not only are the candidates like just staring at him, all the cadre are also just like fully in on this brief, going, what the fuck is this guy talking about? And then he finally realizes, like, oh shit, he's given a class on astrophysics up there. And and you start to realize that there's some pretty smart people here, but holy shit, who am I dealing with?
Well,
And
and that it's like I said, all of us who went back then to that SOP C, SOP C2, SOP C1, SOP C2, that time frame, a lot of the dudes in my class had serious careers. And they just said,
I think that's the
yeah,
case because I run into some X-rays and I'm like, this dude's a genius.
yeah, and it maybe, and that's, I think I love that our community so much because of that too, because we had so many walks of life, and it was like, whoa, dude, you are super damn smart. You're like, wow, this is insane. Why are you doing? Oh, dude, I was bored. I had one dude who was a lawyer.
Bored, yeah.
Yeah, a lawyer. So yeah, I just said, fuck it, dude. Gave up my practice and came out here and did this. I'm like, right on, man. Cool. And great dudes to work with. It was fun. It was just excuse me, so well balanced. You go to your ODA, so well balanced. We had one dude on my ODA when I was on 2-1. He was a mechanic. Like, no bullshit, civilian side and army side before he went into the SF side, freaking mechanic. Dude worked on all our trucks and did a damn good job of it. Like I said, carpenters, plumbers, some electricians. It was like, wow, you know, uh, that's why sometimes I feel kind of dumb. I came from the law enforcement community, right? So, but I learned this. I didn't realize it. I could talk to people, right? I could talk to people like ins and outs. And it was a funny story in Robin Sage. Get ready to get done with Robin Sage, and we were doing the black market deal, and I was literally told by the cadre, "You're not allowed to say anything." I'm like, why? Because you have a forked tongue. And I'm like, what? He goes, you know how to talk to people. You need to get some of these other nugs to learn how to talk to people. And I was like, oh, makes sense. Then I started learning it when I got on a team. Your team sergeant, team leader are putting you with this crew to work with because that ability to talk. I think that's why I got in the ASO world. You know?
No, no matter how smart you are, that's one thing you either know how to do or you don't know how to. You can get better at it, but like I was a bartender, and you learn how to do that, and then the military, I was able to really apply
Yeah,
that skill
and I met
once I got into that.
some guys in the class, bartenders, right? And those dudes could talk to anybody, and everybody liked them. It was like,
Yeah.
hey, right on, man. This dude can really get into depth about whatever the topic may be, and it's like, right on, dude. That's, and you always leaned on that guy to talk to too. Say you were having a bad day, it's like, hey, bro, kind of sucking today. Can you like give me some encouragement? Yeah, right on, dude. I got you. So that I think
Yeah.
that's why I love being in that community. Whether you were at first, 10th, third, fifth, seventh, I always got along with every other group. You always found that common ground with everybody. Going to your SLC classes, meeting all the other dudes. Some dudes you went to the Q course with. Some guys you went to a school with, and it's like, hey, dude, we're back at this thing again. Right on.
It's a small community. As
Yes.
big as we think it is, it's pretty small.
Yes.
Um,
Um. Uh,
and there's really not that many of us. There are a lot, but there's not that
no,
many.
and come out to the Carolinas, man. Holy crap. There's no SF dudes out here. We got a few SEALs out here. Good dudes live out towards the Greenville area. Great dudes. But I've only met a handful of SF dudes. And I got to tell you this story real quick. This is a great story. So I
All
was
right.
teaching I was teaching a CERTOC, my special response team operators course. Started talking to one of the officers out there. They were like, do you know a so and so? And I was like, yeah, I sure do. And come to find out, me and this guy we were in SUT together. And he's an instructor out here in South Carolina. Right. And I was like, I hadn't seen him in 20 years. 20 years. We slept right next to each other in small unit tactics. And I was like, call him up right now before we start shooting. Call him up right now. Calls him up. I say, hey, bro, this is Paul Heitz. Holy shit, what are you doing? I said, I'm teaching your boy right now how to damn shoot. So, and like you said, that small world. And the last 2 years, there is a month doesn't go by that we don't communicate with each other. I go down to Columbia for any of the graduations or anything from one of the dudes. I go and see him because he's he's a big time instructor out at the academy now. But he retired out of third group, and it was like, whoa, dude. And I like our small world. I do love that
Yeah.
small world because there is.
It's easy.
Go ahead.
It's easy to vet. It's easy to vet people too. When you meet somebody, there's only 1 degree of separation. If you meet another Green Beret, you can find somebody that you know that can be
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, he's good, or you know he's bad.
And
That's
it's
real
true
quick
too,
too.
because we had to find out because I'll get a lot of calls from these uh, agencies. Hey man, this dude said he's been through selection. Hey man, this dude said he was a GB. Hey, me and my buddy, we caught one dude. No, no, we caught a dude at the academy saying he was a SF dude, and I came out to the graduation for another officer. He was out there watching his class graduate, and we questioned him. And like you said, there's certain things we all know about one another, and immediately blew it. Just talking in
Yeah,
circles. I was like, man, get out of here, dude.
get the fuck out of here.
Get out of
Yeah,
here.
I was messaged. I messaged this guy's influencer, and I didn't think anything of it because I'm like naive in this social media world. I forget that these guys get weirdos messaging them all the time, pretending to be somebody to get something from them. I just want to meet him and get him on my show and like be friends and have my network again. So he's asking me questions, and I'm like, "Well, no, but I had this person. I know this person." And finally, he's like, "Oh, here's my number. Just text me. You're good." And I'm like, "Oh my god, I can't believe I didn't notice he's vetting me."
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm so far out of the game. I don't even think about that shit anymore. And I was like, my wife's like, "What's wrong?" I'm like, "I'm stupid. That's what's wrong."
Yeah. But yeah, you get caught up in it sometimes. And
Yeah.
but it's like I said, we're a small community, but I like our small community, and I like meeting up with people again.
God, yeah, it's great. Just even this, just talking to people. The guy I talked to last night, he's like, it's just so cool to sit down with somebody that knows what the fuck I'm talking
Right,
about, and you don't have to explain things. But and that I get caught up in that because people are listening to this show. And if you guys ever have any questions, lesserknownoperators@gmail.com. I will answer your questions. I apologize for not explaining things so well. But, we use all these acronyms and these obscure references, and then we'll mention stuff and we both know we can't talk about it. So we just kind of skip over it and go to the next subject, even though we had a full conversation about something without saying anything. And it's
right.
very confusing
Well,
sometimes.
it is, and you're right because Tom and I did that. We taught a department mission planning, and Tom and I are just whipping damn acronyms back and forth. And he would tell me about what he did at one time when he was on his team on their deployment. I was talking about dudes just sat there, just like, oh. And of course critiques or the ARs we always do. Could you guys use less acronyms because we have no clue what you're fucking talking about? You're right. We apologize. But like you get with those guys who know what's going on, and it's like you don't miss a beat. You don't miss a
Yeah.
beat. It's just like one of the guys who came on with us, he is a friend of ours from when we worked selection at, but they were on a team together. And he just called me up one day. And I was like, "Do you know so and so?" He goes, "Yeah, dude, we were on the same team, right?" So I've never met this dude at any time in my career. And when we finally sat down for lunch, talked about the business, what I wanted from him, what he can offer for us, dude, it's like we've known each other for 1,000 years because we knew exactly what we were talking about. Then he meets the other guys from the the other instructors from the company, and they're like, same thing. I was talking to Tom the other day about, I said, you know so and so? He goes, yeah, I know so and so. He taught me this when I was on this team. I was like, well, he's working with us now. He's like, oh, cool, man. And it's like, holy shit, dude. This is insane.
I, I like about this, like the network is people are now they'll record and then they'll see other episodes and they'll go, oh, you know, so and so. It's like, yeah, can you put me in contact with him? Yeah, like, yeah, that's what's good. And people are reconnecting, even in some of the content I'll post. I don't know if you saw Tom Kelly in that Star Wars meme that I made, right?
Yeah.
He was like accurate. Well, one of the Sopsy cadre came in on top of him and posted a comment about, oh yeah, sorry about that, guys. And so they were talking back and forth. So of
This
that
one,
relationship in 2004. Yeah,
yep. When I,
that's some good shit
yeah,
right there, isn't it?
exactly. When I watched that, and I was like, you posted it out first, right, about the book, and I was like, okay, right on, dude. Because this is awesome. This is, and this is awesome just for what I did. You know, taking those bits and pieces and helping these departments with. I immediately went out and got it after you posted it. I literally bought it 5 minutes
Yeah.
later, and it is awesome. And it me personally, and especially coming from a soft perspective, law enforcement needs some of the stuff we have. Just just coming up with a long-term training plan. I've seen training before. It's like, where did you get this training, man? What gave you this concept to do? Oh, I watched a YouTube video. I was like, ooh, that's the wrong answer. That I said, you can't watch a YouTube video and then try to teach that. Okay. Have you practiced that particular drill or that particular technique? No, I just watched it, and then this is what I have the guys working on. Physical fitness. Physical fitness is another thing too, right? What are you all doing for physical fitness? And it's like, oh, we just here and there. And I'm like, holy crap, what are you doing? So I always have a PT test. We always do in my CERTOC course, we always do PT. Always 20 to 30 minutes before we start whatever we're doing, CQB or shooting. We always do that because there's a lesson to it. Because the one thing I've heard from law enforcement, this is the biggest thing, I don't have enough time. What do you mean you don't have enough time? You work 12 to 14 days out of the month. 12 to 14 days. What are you doing for the other 14, 16 days? Right? What are you doing? Or what are you doing? And I understand this because I've done it before, like working at selection. Working at selection or out at land nav for 5 days. Always work out that day before, that day of, the day of. Rest for those 3 or 4 days, pick it right back up, right? Explain to these cats. I said, if you're working a night shift, you don't have to be until 1800 that first day. Work out that day. Then take Saturday, Sunday off, get some sleep on Monday, pick it right back up. I said, then you're going to get your time in, right? Oh, never thought about it that way. Well, of course you didn't. You just willy-nilly everything. And then, like I said, and we do the 20 to 30 minutes every day, whether it be a sandbag or I just throw a 45-pound plate out there or nothing, just calisthenics, right? Calisthenics and running. And I tell them at the end of each, I said, so you're telling me you do not have 20 to 30 minutes out of a 24-hour period to do this? Oh, shit.
Yeah, once you start breaking it down, I mean, if you put in 15 minutes 5 days a week, you're going to be in 100% better shape than your counterpart. I
Absolutely.
guarantee it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's all you need. I can smoke the shit out of you in 15 minutes, and you'll be functional. You're not going to be dead tired. You're going to get a good workout. 2 exercises, 2 to 3 sets each. Good. We do something else tomorrow.
And that's gold. why can
Yeah.
you not do that, right? You
Yeah.
get a high output day for 20 minutes. And I like doing this. I call it lungs and legs. Lungs and legs. Super. All it is sprint work. Well, running. I can't say sprint because you get dog ass tired. And then air squats, right? Make those legs strong. All you do is for 20 minutes, every round, you just add 15 meters down and back. 15 meters down, 15 meters back, 5 air squats. The second round, 15 meters down and back twice, 10 air squats. So one extra down and back, 5 extra air squats, right? And then you do that 20-minute workout with them. They're smoked, but they're not. They're still mission capable. Still mission capable. And then I'll start doing the numbers. How many times in 20 minutes you got 10 rounds? 10 rounds, right? They're like, yeah. I said, so do the math. You did 200 plus air squats and you got a lot of good sprint work in. And I get it. You're not sprinting the entire time. You're still running, getting that getting that cardio in. And they're like, holy crap, I never thought about it that way. I said, yeah, dude. I said, literally 20 minutes, and that's what you did. And shoot all
Yeah.
day.
You don't want your cardio to let you down.
No,
Yeah.
no, absolutely not. So, and that's what made us like I said, 20, 30 minutes every single day. But on Friday, we take a PT test, just a PT test we've all done and we've all written together. First one was deadlifts and stuff like that. Took that one out of the equation because a lot of people don't do deadlifts, right? Or they'll start doing it improper, end up really injuring themselves. Took it out. Then I started doing a more high output where it was like 6 different exercises with 100 reps in there, right? For each exercise. I was like, whoa, that's a lot of work. So we finally stabilized a PT test for them. Run a mile with body armor, do your hand release push-ups for 2 minutes, max reps for 2 minutes, um, air squats, max reps 2 minutes with your body armor on, right? And then got to throw strength in there, sandbag over the shoulder, 2 minutes, 100 pounds. And then a sprint workout, death by 15s at the end. So minimum equipment, and high output, right? So they're working for that entire time. They're getting a mile in. So working on their aerobic and they're getting their strength in with their push-ups, their D-bag over the shoulder, making their legs strong with the air squats, and then their anaerobic with their sprint work in there. And then I start showing them their times and their reps. And I was like, dude, this is what you've done in 45 minutes. Yes, granted, it's long, but can you still walk? Oh, yeah, dude, I feel really good right now. And then we'll do room clearing for 6, 7 hours. And at the end of the thing, do our AAR. Are you still, yeah, dude, I feel really good. I haven't even thought about, my legs being sore anymore. They're sore, but I can still work. And I said, yeah, you got great numbers. You're still working. You're getting all the things that you need to be a, to operate out on the to operate on what you guys do for patrolling, SRT. I don't care what it is. And they're like, whoa, that didn't make sense. And then when you can make life changes for some of these officers. So Tom and I had one dude in our class, little overweight. He still put out 150%. Saw him 6 months later. Dude ended up losing like 30, 40 pounds. Got super lean, joined the gym, got into BJJ, the whole 9 yards, totally different person. And he stayed this way for the last 3 years. And he's starting to put that out to all his members of his team because he is now the SWAT commander. All the members of the team, you have to do this. You have to do that. A lot of our programs that we've written, we have to send them out to the departments because that's what they're incorporating for their training now. And it's all simple work. And it doesn't take that much
Yeah.
time, and they still have plenty of time to train.
It, it's so important. Right? I mean, especially life or death.
Yes.
And for us, you're doing a train up to deploy, but you're as a cop, you're on all the time, even when you're off duty. you're amongst the civilian populace. You're still technically on.
Yes,
Uh,
because
so shit can happen at any time. So you got to be ready. You can't let your physical fitness let you down.
and for what? Why did you let your physical fitness? Don't tell me you don't have enough time, right? It's priorities of work. It's time management. It's just like we teach in the course: priorities of work, time management. How am I maintaining this time? You know, to this day, 50 years old, 24 years in the military, I still have pieces of paper where I'm writing my timeline down to make sure
Yeah.
just before I got ready for our podcast. It's getting things set up and ready. Okay, that means I got to wake up a little bit earlier, get out in the garage, go do a little workout, and set everything up. It maybe it's second nature for all of us. I don't know, but I think that's what we're trying to teach them. All of us as a whole, you know, with this company, trying to teach them that time management.
It's one thing like to tell them though, right? And I've had this discussion the last few days with different people. Is how do you really get people to learn? Well, if you know, verbal learning is one way, right? But when you can show somebody the end result of either being physically fit or not up to standards, right? Showing them videos of like, here, this is what can happen if you aren't able to even jog for an extended period of time, or show them examples of people who have made time and come back. Like Nick. Nick's got one fucking leg, and he's back on active duty.
And killing it.
TJ Watt, yeah, and killing it. TJ Watt that was on here, he took 6 rounds. One shattered his femur. He got back to physically fit. He got medically retired, but dude runs half marathons
And
now.
he's an animal.
Like, don't tell me you don't have time. Like,
Exactly.
your life depends on it. This is your job. If you don't, you have some. I'm not picking on anybody. Have some pride in what you're doing. And I know I've been bad at times, and I'm trying to be better about it. But I don't want other people to avoid that mistake
Yeah.
of like wasting time and
And,
letting themselves slip. Because once you start to slip, it's easy to let it go more.
and I think that's important for us to give them the why behind it. Just like you've explained right there, give them the why. This is what's going to happen if your cardio. And we're not sitting there saying running 15, 20 miles a week. We're not saying that. Just get out there and do something, you know, do some sprints, do some hill work that doesn't take a shit ton of time. It's just putting in the work, right? Because the end results are going to be super positive for you. And, you know, it's just, like I said, I'm 50 years old. I'm not a super skinny dude, but I still go out there and get it. You know, if it's sometimes proven a point too. It's like we did a thing with a department a couple weeks ago or a couple days ago, and one of the boys was like, "How do you do this?" It's just like, dude, you just go and do it, man. It's like you are 23 years old. I am 50. You should be killing me in this, but it's just go out and do it. Just do it, man.
Yeah, that age thing. And I'll tell you why. Don't matter. It doesn't matter because if your mind's right there, you're going to succeed because you went through selection. I wrote down here at 29 when you passed.
Yes, 29.
Um, I went through when I went through selection. There was a kid next to me, 22, and the next roster number was his dad, 44, National Guard. They passed selection and the Q course and then went back to their National Guard unit together, 22 and 44. So I always think about that. Like, if that dude can hang with his son through the entire Q course, they went through the course all together, right next to one another. It was an amazing thing, actually.
That's pretty
And
cool.
if
That's
they can do that, fucking, you can do it too. Little guy, both of them smaller guys and just tough. They can do that. So a lot of that shit with age, if you start, and like I said, if you start when you're in your 20s or your 30s, it's going to be so much easier
yes.
when you're in your 40s. You don't even have to do as much,
No, you don't.
a quarter of the workout to keep up with the fitness. And then I tell people about this, like the reason I do the shit I do is because I don't know, I'm insane. Like I have, like it like, physically makes me better. Like I feel good doing it. You don't have to do what I do. Do a reasonable amount of effort 3 times a week,
Yeah.
and you'll see the
And
benefits of that.
you'll see great benefits.
Yeah.
You most certainly will, and I think that's what we're all trying to push for them. You know, you got Tom out there, hip surgery, still out there training. You know, the other one out of 10th group, you know, working on both his knees, still out there doing it. Another buddy replaced both knees, still out there killing it. And there's no excuse. Just do it.
Yeah. That's what, yeah, people ask me, they're, should I do this? Yeah, you should fucking do that. Because you don't want, you're not going to be able to do it when you're older and
Mm-hmm.
retired. There's no going back. You know, there's no redo. There's a good chance that years down the road you close your eyes and that's it. There's nothing after. No redos, no fucking second chances. Do everything now while you can, while you're
Exactly.
living in it,
and
because you
and
won't be
that's
able to.
what I had to do with going back into the military. It's like right now, if I stayed in the highway patrol, I'd be getting ready to retire right now. Getting ready to retire right now. And I was like, oh God, I am so glad I said fuck it and did it. Yeah, it was challenging, but it was worth every single challenge because you don't want to live with regret. I was living with regret, you know, failing out of buds, already living with it. And it's like, ooh, can I continue doing this? You'll be a hot mess, right? So it was like, just do it, man. You know you want to do it. All you got to do is sign it, say goodbye, and go do it.
Um, Here's one for you. So the reason I say is like the first easy class or things like that. You know, in the course, everybody has a setback. It's somewhere in the course. I had mine the first time I went to selection. So after that, everything was all gas, no brakes, like full force. There was no doubt that I was going to pass everything after I got hurt that first time. And that made it easier because I was just there, all the way there, 100% in all the time. And it, like failing and getting hurt and lose and getting dropped was not an option because I had that setback there. So I can say that later. Some people have it in the middle and had a wishy-washy time. Do you think failing out of buds contributed to you just smoking?
Oh,
Because all of those
absolutely.
dudes going through SOP-C is a tough
Yeah,
thing to do.
absolutely.
Was that just a no fail? Because
That
I'm
was
not
like
going to, I know what it's like.
you are not going to quit. You're not going to fail this. It was just like you said. It was my foot to the damn accelerator pedal all the way through. It's like I'm not quitting this. I don't care. You're going to have to get hurt. You're going to have to get and shit. Even if I got dropped for something medically, I would fight through it. You know what I mean? Just to find some way somehow to get back to it because you can't live with that, and you do live with it. You could say, hey, yeah, that time being so young, stupid, newly married, yeah, I wasn't ready for it. But then the years go by, and then you're seeing everything around you, and you're just like, oh God, what have I done? You know, and this is personal now. This is all personal. Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, you know, get a damn long tab. Kids will be super proud. All of that, but it's like this is for me. I have to go through with this. And even I had a setback in the Q course too. You know, just like a lot of other dudes. Every once in a while, you would meet a guy who went straight through, but a lot of guys had setbacks. You know, my setback was I didn't make it through the Delta course. You know, after SOPC two, yeah, SOPC two, I guess they were really short with medics at the time, and
They're always short for medics.
I was
They're
already
always
yeah,
every.
and that's true. I was already scheduled to go to the Charlie course. So they pulled a bunch of Charlies, a bunch of Bravos, and said, "You're all now going to the Delta course." And we're like, "What are you talking about?"
Fuck that. That sounds
it was
terrible. I mean,
it,
that couldn't have been a good pass rate, right? That
no.
couldn't have been a good pass.
So,
Yeah.
like Nick, I want to say there was 20 of us who got pulled from that. 19 of us failed it. No, 19 of us were sitting after that first phase with the colonel and had to explain, why'd y'all fail this? I said, well, originally I was supposed to be a Charlie. And at that point time, I don't think he knew, or maybe he was playing stupid. I don't know. But he was like, "Are you serious?" I said, "Yeah, I was just originally, because I was one of the first guys to sit down with that exit interview with the colonel." And I was like, "Yeah, I was originally a Charlie. They just told us in that 2 week block of language that we were all coming to the Delta course." I said, "I'm not mentally prepared, nor, and quite frankly, nor do I want to do it. Hats off to all the Deltas out there, but that's not my forte right there." I said, "I have no interest in any of this." "Well, hot damn. Well, I recommend you go back to the Charlie course." And then you know how that goes. You got to sit there and wait 4 months for the next class to start up. So you're just sitting there at the damn Delta course doing shit work for 4 months. And it's like, oh,
Fuck that.
this is so dumb.
I was I was fortunate, but as I've said a few times now, looking back, I kind of took the easy route by going a Charlie because I didn't really learn anything, and all that demolition stuff, the explosive stuff, isn't really applicable in real life
Yeah.
once you get out of the military. And I knew all of the construction portion, so kind of. Yeah, I wish I would have been an Echo, maybe. Yeah, maybe an Echo or so, but whatever. That's the way it
Yeah.
went, and now we're out. But yeah, I can't imagine that. Oh, I'm going to be a Charlie. I'm going to be a Charlie. Oh no, you're going to go be a Delta.
Oh
Oh
yeah,
well,
you should have seen everybody's
fuck
face in
you.
that formation, like we're Deltas, and I think a why came up, and they didn't have a damn answer. They were told what to do, and they just started picking dudes. The why was, "Oh, y'all had high GT scores, right?" I said, "Bro, I know my GT score, okay? It ain't that damn 120, 130 all these other Deltas are. So now you're lying." Now you're lying. But yeah,
Yeah. Oh,
it was a miserable experience for me because I didn't have the study habits. I didn't have any of that, nor did I want to be a Delta. My goal was 18 Charlie, Arabic, and go to damn third or fifth group. That was it. That was I picked all of those when I was in selection, and after selection, I got my wish list. I got everything I wanted, and I was like, "Ooh, this is cool, right?" And then the Delta course. So that was my setback. But setback, what do? You just keep on pushing. Right now, what do I all I do is damn walk around and clean stuff for 4 months. Hey, we'll get a group of dudes together. Let's just work out Monday through Friday, do our BS that we got to do, and let's get to the Charlie course. And then after that, it was all easy.
yeah, yeah. That easy, right? After you like, hey, but you think you're getting dropped from the because they could easily just drop you
Oh,
from the whole
absolutely.
course when you
They could have
fail a
just said,
block too, and you're
they
like,
could have just said,
fuck.
the 19 of us, they could have literally just said, "Huh, okay, cool, bye." And it was like, oh, and thinking about that too is like, oh shit, dude, I'm on the chopping block now to get kicked out of the Q course. Already went through
Yeah.
selection. SOPC 1 and 2 are done. Um, I'm done with small unit tactics. SEER. It's like, damn, dude, I'm getting ready to get booted before I even start my MOS. Shit, but the colonel was super understanding, and I think majority of us, yeah, I think the 19 of us got put into back to the Charlie. It was mainly Charlies and Bravos. We got put back in. We got classed up with the next class.
Some officer probably got a stern talking to
Yeah.
after that, but um, so you go through the course, get it. What's that feeling getting your beret finally
Oh,
after the long process?
yeah. It was a long process, but stoked. It was like I did it. I failed out of one thing, had a decent career, but now I accomplished what I came here for. And now, now it's time to go to group and just and have a blast with it. And going to group, it was great. It was kind of cool too for me going once I got to group. We were getting ready for a deployment like immediately. I showed up and we were gone maybe a month later. And I never got the new guy hazing like the new guys got. I don't know what it was. All the dudes on the team were great dudes, great guys, great team sergeant, great team leader, great ODA members, and it was just like, hey, one big happy family. And got to do few deployments, two, three deployments with that first team, and just had a blast with those guys.
Yeah. Okay, man. Yeah, well, you had God, you've been in the military on and off and on for 10 years at
Yeah,
that point when you finally got to group, right? So, yeah, you get a little more leeway. And people can tell, teams are different, and especially with the op tempo at that time. So it's got to be what, 2007,
yeah,
2008 now?
2007, 2008, it was constant because you go a 6, 8 month deployment, you come back, you're already slotted to go to a school, then you're already we didn't even get 2 weeks off. I think we showed back up on a Thursday, Friday from our deployments, had that weekend, and it was right back to work that following Monday. And
Yeah,
it was
100%
it
accountability
was
back to
like
work.
that for me for like 4 or 5 years at group. It was constant. And I was like, ooh, and you don't realize it. You literally do not realize it. And it's like, how did I get through that? You know, one failed marriage, get ready to go on a second failed marriage. Got three young kids. How in the world did I manage all this while still dealing with the personal problems and still, but the ODAs, being at group, being at with all those guys, I think that was my safe haven. You know, I could
Oh,
almost
100% it was your safe haven. You
escape.
say, how did I manage this? You didn't manage it. You didn't manage anything else. The team, holds it together, and you're just letting everything else crumble on the outside because you're addicted to that life. You're stuck in it, and it's safe because it's going to be there as long as you still have time left in the service that you can stay. It's going to be there, and you can always just hide out in the team room
Yeah,
and ignore the rest of the world's problems, right?
and yeah, it's true. And they were great about it. They were super supportive. The dudes were. So that's what helped me manage it through. I lucked out. Yeah, two failed marriages, but three great kids. Had three great kids, even though we were spread apart. I was out at Tennessee. They were in Charlotte. They still maintained a great relationship with them. I definitely can say I lucked out with that. And unfortunately, some dudes didn't get that. My kids were always, good. A lot of shit that I did, whether to go to school or something like that. Not only was it personal, it was for them too. You know, Dude, everybody wants to make their kids proud. We do.
Yeah.
We want to make our kids proud. We want our kids to talk about you, when they're with their friends and stuff like that. But yeah, but I love being at group. I loved every second of it. But then it was time for me to call it quits and do something different because I wanted to be closer to my kids, right? So they were living in Charlotte at the time. And what's the best thing to do? They're always looking for GBs to go to Swick. So got done with Kurdistan deployment and put in for Swick. And
The schoolhouse
yep,
then.
yep. So I did a Robin Sage detail. Met up with an old battalion company sergeant major who is now the battalion sergeant major. Went to go visit him. I said, "Hey, coming out to Swick." He goes, "Where you want to go?" "Right down there. I want to go to SFAS." And he goes, "Right on, dude. I'll make it happen." Did it right there for me. Cut me the orders to go to selection. I was like, "Hell, right on." So go back to the group after the detail. Finally, get all my shit done at fifth group. Go out to Swick, and lo and behold, they changed the orders on me. I was going to the schoolhouse for the ASO committee. I was like, oh
Ooh.
man, I don't want to do this. Good thing knowing being a decent soldier, being a decent SF guy, you meet a lot of good people. They remember you. So the sergeant major that was in charge of the ASO schoolhouse was another one of my company sergeant majors. And I just told him straight up, I said, I already had a gig for SFAS, already bought a house close to the area. He goes, "You don't want to come here?" I said, "No, Sergeant Major, I don't want to come out here. I think it would be better for me to go to SFAS." He goes, "Okay, cool. I'll call him up." So he called the other Sergeant Major. "Hey, we got your dude here." No, that's my dude. He goes, "All right, you owe me a favor because I'm going to give you your dude back to go over there." So did it literally right there, did that swap right there. And then the SWIC company sergeant major at the time was also my old battalion sergeant major. So it was nice.
You just connected all over the
So it
place,
was
man. You just
nice to
know
know all
everybody. I know a guy.
and go over there and talk to him. I was like, yeah, they tried to. Oh no, 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 no. Is that where you want? No, I don't want to go there. Right on. We'll make it happen. And sure shit, like a day later, got the orders to go back to SFAS. But that was just being a decent dude, doing what you're supposed to do. And I like me and my buddy used to call it being the dude. Be the dude. Okay. I had no aspirations of being a team sergeant. I liked being the dude. Dead serious. I like, you know, if we need shit done, let's call Paul. Right on. And we all work together, get the shit done. And I don't care about accolades. I don't care. It's just like I told the NCOIC of Land Nav. Because this dude was taking on a million roles. I said, bro, stop doing that shit. Let us do it. Okay. Well, I said, it is your job. I said, it is your job to do all of this stuff. But we've been here long enough. We can take that burden off of you. So we can give you a day or two off that you don't need to be out here because you got to be out here for freaking 5 days for the Star Course, right? And the PEs. I said, get on it. Let us do it. And sure shit, talked him into it. So it took so much slack off. And I said, we're not here to get accolades. We're a team. And if it just so happens you're in charge, you get all the accolades you want. I don't give a shit. The whole idea is mission success, right? We want mission success. It's just, and at the end state is mission success. That's why I love being the dude.
If you're a good 18, and that's, most guys I think will say the dude on the team or in the company is usually an 18 Charlie. Like that's
Oh,
the guy that's like got the background in it and he'll just go get shit done. Hey, we lost this piece of equipment. Can you get me another one? Yeah, I'm going to figure it out. I'll figure it out. Just give me a minute and
and
I'll go get it done.
saying that, I told you earlier, my first mentor, my senior Charlie, he was that dude. If you called him, he'd get it done. He'd find it. He'd work it out. He would change range days, do all of this. He'd get equipment that was needed. He'd find shit that was lost. This was the dude. And I was like, right on, man. I want to be the dude.
Yeah.
I want to be the dude. I don't care about
Yeah.
being a team sergeant because I hate computers. I hate reading emails. I don't care. Let's be the dude. So, if that makes sense.
It's an interesting role. No, it does. I know exactly what you mean because, I don't know if other guys would say that I became, but I feel like that was my role after I got hurt. I became the guy because I went to the B team and I'm the Charlie and I just wanted to be helpful. So anything the teams needed or anything anybody needed, oh yeah, let me take care of that for you. Let me do that for you. Let me get you help that. And then I guess, yeah, it probably was because,
Yeah.
Sergeant Major, he attached me to a couple teams in Korea and I was their liaison. So I took care of signing up their training and all this stuff. I loved it. I loved doing it because I got to be on a team again.
Yeah.
I wasn't on a team, but I was like attached to the team and they were real nice to me. Like not giving me shit. So I'm still a new guy. I'm
Yeah.
still a year in the company, but I'm setting up all the shit for them, and those guys were pretty cool about it. And that's a good memory. But I loved it. I got to do it again. And then when I was at battalion at the senior Charlie, I'd go meet all the other Charlies, and I got to be that guy. So I know what you mean. I really liked that
And
position of
it's
just knowing the people and having the network.
yes, and it's super rewarding at the end of the day, especially when there's a task given that can it be done? and you think so far outside the box that it can be done and it gets done, that's a win-win. That's my win-win right there. Oh, we're going to make this happen. I promise you, we're going to make this happen.
The best was the best was when you would accomplish something a couple of times, and once recently, I accomplished something that wasn't getting done, and I didn't do a fucking thing. Like I just went in. I would, when you're cranking on the pickle jar
Yep.
and you can't get it, and then you hand it off to somebody and it
And
pops
pop
right
it right
open.
open.
Well, somebody handed me the pickle jar, and I went, oh, and they're like, how the fuck did you
Yeah.
do that? I was like, oh man, fuck, I guess you're welcome. I don't know.
But yeah,
That shit would happen all the time.
yeah, but it's rewarding to me. It is. Being the dude is rewarding.
Fuck yeah, man. Um, well, yeah, there was a cadre at selection, and I didn't get to see it, but I heard when he retired, he had the slideshow. Did you ever get to see that
No,
slideshow of he would take a picture? Did you hear about it?
no, I haven't heard that one.
Okay. He was hilarious, and when he left, I guess he showed the slideshow to the some of the students or the cadre or whatever. And because every time anything fucked up would happen, he'd take a picture of it and he'd save it for later. You got any funny stories from candidates at selection just getting the shit kicked out of them?
To me, everything was funny. Everything. Now, the best thing that we did through having some of those lunatics, we'd always give certain candidates nicknames. That was our, because it all started not the PT test. It was when they do their layout, and that we just give them stupid nicknames. Right? We had this one kid, biggest head I've ever seen in my life, and my buddy, big old huge dude, just sitting there like, "Hey, come over here, come over here." And I'm walking across everybody's shit like this asshole. And I was like, dude, that dude looks like Squidward off a damn SpongeBob, right? So the rest of the time we called him Squidward, right? And you know how you'll lose candidates through the course sometimes. It's like, so we'd see these dudes, so the land nav boys, we'd see them through PT tests, layout, and every once in a while we'd have to come in for a run ruck. And then, oh, look, dude, we'd sit in the truck. Hey, there's Squidward rucking right by us. Then Squidward would come back for damn. Then we see him at land nav. It's like, oh, shit, Squidward's still here. Then once we were done with land nav, unless team week needed us to walk, we were off. We were off till the long walk, the trek. We always worked the trek. So the team week guys could be off. They'd been working their asses off for 4 straight days. Sure as shit, me and my buddy are sitting there in a pickup truck in one of the checkpoints. The number 2 dude out of the class, it's fucking Squidward with that big old giant head just bebopping a truck. I said, bro, Squidward's going to make it, dude. But really, nothing stands out, but I had a really good time at with the candidates. The entire time, it was always something new. It was never the same. For me, so a lot of that shit was just super funny for me. Just super funny.
I mean, so you're a cadre in like the modern era. You're in the 2020s, right? When you were a cadre.
Around 2017 to 2020, before I started
Okay.
exiting my way out.
So pretty much, well, yeah, you're getting there though. But so, like when I went to selection, all we had was 2 weeks in hell, right?
Yeah.
And when you went to selection, you had no idea what you were getting into because there was no reference material. And then, you know, in the mid-teens, there started these military soft fitness influencers started popping up and writing training regimens to pass selection or pass
Mm-hmm.
dive school or whatever. Were you seeing that candidates were starting to show up more prepared? compared to like when you went in?
Yes and no. This like super like appearance wise, you'd see some of these dudes that's like, holy crap, this dude is super fit. Super, super fit. But it was they couldn't make the rucks or the runs, you know? It's because coming through, when I went through, it was ruck, run, your push ups, sit ups, and pull ups. I didn't start lifting till I left the Q course and went to group. The entire time from selection through the Q course, I didn't lift a damn weight. Nothing. It was always running and rucking and those core calisthenics, right? That was it. I think a lot of the dudes hindered from that because I'd see a lot of drops for the damn sit ups.
Hmm.
Dudes were failing sit, and this dude, you could clearly see a mile away. This dude had a six pack from the word go, but you know as well as I do, doing uh sit ups is a totally it's not an ab workout, right? It's fucking our hips flexors are getting destroyed. These cats weren't
Yeah.
doing it, so they get down there and get 30, 40 sit ups, and it's like, damn, dude, you're like super fit, but you can't do a damn sit up to save your life. And rucking started to see a dwindle in that. It's like, dude, did you guys come out here and prepare for rucks at all? You know, because you know how in those the teen eras they started coming out with these super Gucci ass boots and stuff like that. Shit, when going back, it was Bellaville's, and pretty much that was it. I think Oakley started making that appearance towards the end of the Q course for me, but it was just Belleville's, right? You had your summer and winters. And no bullshit. All I did is, you remember how we could get our boots modified and put they called it the Sopsy sole, and all it was a Vibram bottom. That's all I,
I was not
that's all I did to
I
my
was not that
boots.
advanced.
That's all I
I
did.
was
I
not that
took my
advanced. No.
issued boots and just got them modified for the soles. That was it. And I used those two same boots all through selection and the Q course. That was it. Shit, I wore my winter boots pretty much the entire time. And
Nope, I destroyed my feet both times. Just destroyed them to no end.
but I think maybe it just got a little bit carried away. Like saying earlier, I had zero clue what was coming to me next when I went through selection. Had zero. All I knew is I had to walk with a damn heavy ass pack the entire time. That was it.
Yeah.
And I think maybe too much information got put out. It, just whatever happened to just go out there, train, and do it, right? Because SOP C was
Yeah,
no.
I don't know how I feel about it. I still feel that no matter what, the people that are going to pass will pass, and the people that are going to fail are still going to fail. They'll
Yeah,
fail at some portion. They might weed themselves out later. They'll figure out how to pass selection, and then it comes to some other portion of the course, and then they'll self-select
that's right.
themselves out or
That will
fail
get them
and
right there.
whatever. I really don't think it matters. And if you're mentally not ready to be a Green Beret in group, you're not going to make it,
Yep.
or you'll get the beret and then you won't earn the privilege to wear it all the time. So I don't think it matters. Yeah, it sucks a lot less being physically fit, but just go ruck. If you just ruck your ass off in all your free time, you'll probably be okay, I
Exactly.
think.
Facts.
Um, there's ways to prevent injuries and
Mm-hmm.
things like that or whatever, but I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it, but good for the guys that have gotten out and made that into a business. I love
Oh,
that for them
absolutely. Because
so much.
I do
Because they
too.
did that. I was like, that's beautiful.
And I'm
Fuck yeah.
super
Good for you
stoked for
guys.
those guys because it's legitimate information. It's legitimate that will help you. It really is. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm with you. I'm all for dudes out there from our community going out there and spreading the knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
They need to spread the knowledge. And there's some good programs there. There's some really good programs, but like I said, my thing was it wasn't a program. It was you ruck probably 2 or 3 times a week. You ran 2 or 3 times a week, and in between there, you sprinkled your push-ups, sit-ups, and your damn pull-ups and rope climbing. That's what we did, and that was it. And your goddamn smoke fest and SOP C, that damn prepared your ass. I always loved SOP C1, your damn instructor sitting there riding on his mountain bike while you dying on a damn run. But
I'm not gonna lie, and that sounds so terrible. I'm and another that feeds into the first easy class, right? I had something with my vision at MEPS. I couldn't pass that dot test,
yeah,
right? So I had to take whatever they could give me. And it wasn't a lot. So I was like, okay, I'll take that. And they said, you can go to selection once you get in. You get a waiver for everything once you're in the military. Fuck, you can get a waiver for not having a leg, obviously. So I go to basic AIT, stationed, right to the recruiter, to selection, 8 months. I'm in selection 8 months after I've joined the military. And these guys that went 18 x-rays have been getting brutalized for 12 to 15 months to be in the same class that
mm-hmm.
I'm in. And I haven't even been smoked one time yet. Not in basic, not in AIT, not in my regular unit, all PT on my own, trying to get in shape. And I was like, I really feel bad for you guys because that fucking sucks. Because I didn't do shit to get here.
Yeah.
I felt bad for that. But you guys can fucking take it. That's fine. Fine with me.
But that's how it goes sometimes, right? It's just like you said, it might just line up just perfect. Where it's like, yeah, dude, I didn't have to do shit, you know?
Like I said, experiences may vary. I didn't get to do a lot of cool guy shit. A lot of 18 X-rays that came in the same time. They did get to do the things. Things just don't work out. They
Yeah.
don't work out how they was. So, but you did your 20 and retired, and you had just a. How many years did you end up doing total?
A total of 24 years in the military, and I got like 8 years law enforcement.
Hmm.
So it's just like it's all of that. A lot of people say you got shit. You've done a lot. I was like, I don't really consider it. It was more personal goals that I had to accomplish, right? And it just so happens, holy crap, I did do a lot. You know, even when I was a highwayman, I did a lot in the highway patrol. I was a decent trooper. I was a decent
Yeah.
trooper. And I was like, holy crap, I did all of that. And getting in my career too for the military, I was like, I did a lot. Sometimes I feel like I didn't do a lot. I think a lot of us feel that way. It's like, damn, because you're seeing some of your boys out there, it's like, it's just like deployments, right? You might get a good deployment and you might not get a good deployment. It's just the way it's just the way it goes. But like I said, at the end of the day, I'm pretty happy with what I've done. It's pretty rewarding, and now I can give it back to the law enforcement dudes. It's like, talking earlier. It's just I never missed a beat. It's just I'm not in the army anymore. Do I miss it? Absolutely. Especially missing the people. I miss the people, the dudes. I miss the dudes. Because when you look
The
forward,
best people.
yes,
Yeah.
you look forward going to work. It's like, what is he going to say today, or what is he going to do today to make my ass laugh so hard, and make it an enjoyable time? Because, dude, being on a team, being at a cadre, you're going to have some shitty times. We've done selection classes, and it damn blizzard come through there, and it's like, okay, cool. How are all these candidates getting home since you closed down post and all the 88 mics are not doing? Oh, okay. So our sergeant major and our company commander are running back to brag to get all the keys for the LMTVs and the buses that the SF dudes are driving the candidates back to damn McCall with. And it's like, why are we doing this? It's like,
I kind of for a second thought you were going to say, all right, gentlemen, put those rucks back together. We got one more event.
one more event, and we're going back to McCall, but it's not in the 20 packs.
Yeah,
But
no,
what we had to do,
we're going.
we had to do all that, and I think that's why you appreciate that long tab so much, because you can think outside the box. You are that guy who's gonna. It's like I said, no 88 mics. We had no keys because the idiots took them home instead of leaving them at the talk. And it's like, I have to get 200 plus candidates home in 20, like 10, 20 packs slash LMTVs combined. And then everybody's working together. Like I said, Sergeant Major, the company commander are running back to brag in a snowstorm to get all these keys, right? Or getting bolt cutters to cut all the chains off the door to the LMTVs. They're like, fuck it, cut the stupid ass chains off. Right on, we're doing it. And then having to take multiple trips back and forth to get these boys back home so the team week guys can take them on. So that means team week dudes have come in to help us all with this. It's like, right on, man. That's why, being in that community to see that when shit hits the fan, that well-oiled machine starts working and everybody's working.
Yeah. That's just one day, right?
That is,
That's
yeah,
just one day,
that
one
is
crazy thing.
literally one day, or
And
going
there's
multiples. it's
yeah.
it's just what's next and how are we going to defeat this, and you just do it. You just do it because even as a selection cadre, every August we would train. Team week dudes would do their thing. Land nav dudes would do their thing. We were training that entire month before that first class comes in. So everybody's up to par because that time frame, we got new cadre. We got new cadre to go teach them the routes of, the land nav course. You got the team week guys teaching them what they're looking for and all of that stuff. It's like, damn, man. Even the individual week guys, and that dude was usually one or two guys. Tom and one other guy would do all of that. That's in processing 400 dudes. That's what you're doing. Just you two. Wow.
Fucking sign me up, man. Let's go do
Yeah,
it
but
tomorrow.
like I said,
I'm down.
when shit hits the fan and that well-oiled machine, those goofballs who were just literally laughing with 5 minutes prior, you're all out there doing something. Missing a candidate. There's procedures that we've trained for constantly. Like you said, you're never going to get that full effect from training, but we've trained that scenario enough that everybody is so disciplined on doing what they're supposed to do. Next thing you know, you find the knucklehead who's lost for the last 30 minutes. You find him because the one cadre was doing what he was supposed to be doing, staying on his route constantly. Oh, I got roster number so and so, RTB back to the talk. Right on, dude. And then what happens? There's no high fives, no cheering. No, we got to outprocess. We got to get these dudes ready for the next star event, or we're getting them ready to head back to McCall. So that process never stops. And I guess we've done it so much at my group, then going to SWIC at your group. It's just natural. And I guess that's how you lead your life now, where it's just natural. Oh shit, I got to get this done. That's my priorities of work today. So that can get pushed to the side because this is my priorities of work. And I guess that's what this company are trying to do for law enforcement. Nothing should be ever shooting from the hip. Okay. You should have contingencies. You should have a plan for everything because that's what it balances everything out. Then instead of you guys sitting there like, oh shit, I don't know what to do on this situation. So yeah, I enjoyed my time.
Fuck yeah. I mean, I did too, man. And you only get so much time. It's only fine. You can only cram so much shit into that career, and then it's over one day.
Yeah.
Did you get to do everything you wanted to do, or was there a school or an opportunity that you still think about? Like, man,
Yes.
I really
There
wish I
is
would have got to do that.
one thing I wish. I've been to all the schools I wanted to do. got to spend a lot of time on an ODA like I wanted to. Got to go be an instructor like I wanted to. Might sound silly, might sound dumb. There's one thing I always wanted to do. I wanted to do a fucking water jump for an airborne operations. I never got the opportunity to do it. It might sound silly, might sound stupid. I've always wanted to do one of those.
Hey, that doesn't sound silly. If you want to do it, I mean, I'm sure you can still do it, but that's sure there's somebody out there that can hook you up with that. The most dangerous of the static
Yeah,
line
that
jumps
is the
that there
one
is.
I've always wanted. We got put on the books for two of them, and they all got canked because of the weather, because of the winds and stuff like that. But that's the one thing I wanted to do. Got to do all my cool deployments, but that is the one thing I wanted to do. It's like, damn, dude, I didn't get to do that. You know, so that was one of the biggest things. All the schools I wanted, I got those, and I'm super happy with teams. The two teams that I was on, I loved that both those teams. All the team sergeants were great. All the team leaders were great. So I kind of lucked out at group. I really did. And truth be told, I lucked out. All the dudes I worked with worked for. So I have zero complaints. There's nobody I despised or disliked, It was fun. A real good friend of mine, we were on the same team together on 2-2 together. He was the senior medic, senior Charlie. He became my team sergeant for 2-1, which was pretty cool. It was like, damn, dude, this is all right. And I'm still working with him, but a different capacity. He's the team sergeant, but we still had the fun that we did when we were just ODA guys. We still had and it's just transferred now. Now he's the team sergeant, so Paulie's just going to give him a little bit more hell as being the team sergeant. But he was a great team sergeant, great, great ODA guy too. So yeah, like I said, Nick, the biggest thing I wanted to do was a water jump. That's the only thing I've ever wanted.
I didn't expect you to say that, so I'm surprised by that one. Because most guys, that not something they want to do at all. Um,
And I hated
yeah,
jumping
you can
too.
keep that one.
The static line sucked.
There's no we out by us. We hated jumping for a different reason because it never happened. You'd get all spun up to jump, and it was
Mm-hmm.
raining in Seattle every day, so the
Yeah,
jump was always canceled. Always canceled. I felt bad for the jump masters. I don't know how we kept our jump
jump
logs
status.
correct.
Yeah.
I don't know how we did that, but we did. It was always, inspection was always correct, but no, you can keep that jump to yourself. But never any special mission unit or anything. Never thought about going to any of that.
No, I appreciated what they did. I knew by that time, you start hitting that age, right? Always the oldest dude on the team, and it was like, no, I respect what they did. They operators; those are operators, right? But I love being on an ODA. I truly love being on an ODA because we could do it all. It's just my first team was a mountain team, had a great time with them. And then my second team, which I loved, being on a long range mobility team, being able to take everything known to man and just live out there for weeks at a time. That's exciting to me. Being able to action your own intel. That's exciting to me. Being able to do self-sustaining, like Afghanistan, we were in a remote fire base. That was my job to keep the food, the supplies, and everything, but still working with the Bravos on the base defense, still working with my deltas. I like working with my deltas. Just being that triage dude, and getting that cross training from them. That's why, like, again, special missions, total respect, but being on an ODA, that was everything right there because it was the total package for me. Total package for me.
How did your view of what it means to be a Green Beret change from the time you're like, I'm going to be an X-ray until retirement? what did your vision of what a Green Beret is and should be evolve into?
Uh, Pretty much what we talk, being that trainer, right? Everybody wants to be that door kicker, right? And it's just like putting that in perspective for the law enforcement side, right? So it's like we talked about earlier. You know, we all have specific jobs on our team, whether it be our primary or our secondary jobs, right? But our gun guys, oh, they know everything about guns. Yeah, but I knew a lot of Charlies and Deltas who knew a lot about guns too, right? Um, Knew a lot about the room clearing aspect, the planning portion, knew knew all of that, and to just that's why I like that total, just knowing how to do all. I mean, just coming up with a training plan, right? It can be a pain in the ass because I have to look at schedules. I have to look at when the ranges are available. I have to get in touch with the range officers, making sure nobody's using it at that, or if somebody's using it at that time, can I piggyback off of that? You know, you so you know how to work that, and that was always my perspective as a GB, and to actually do all of that and then do it after I get out, right? I'm still doing and being that trainer, that mentor to be able to give everybody that piece, it's nice to work with departments and showing them how to do a training plan or how to do a lesson plan. Why are you doing this? Let's put, does this make sense? Giving them that why. And like I said, I lucked out. Great team sergeants, great team leaders always gave me that why, made me learn to give like law enforcement that why behind everything. Not, I told you so. No, there's a why behind it. It's just like your selection cadre. They put that shit on the whiteboard. You're going to do this. This is what you're going to have. You never asked why. The why was already there, you know? And that's why that's like I said, I lucked out. Maybe other dudes didn't have that same perspective, but I love being once I got the selection, everything I expected it to be. The Q course was everything I expected to be. Finally becoming that GB long tabber, being on an ODA, I knew what was expected of me, and I'm just going to execute that. So, like I said, I lucked out and got the time I got in to the time I left, it was all the same. Yeah, we have outside entities. We dealt with the COVID. We dealt with shit, less than stellar leadership, but it was always the dudes who you were working with that could make it happen. Yeah, and fix those problems. And like I said, everything for me from start to finish of my career, it was everything I expected it to be.
Well, it feels like you're continuing that on, right? Just step off into the next thing and continue being. And I think we do. Some guys did their service and they just take that and keep it for themselves, and that's fine.
Yes.
Absolutely nothing wrong with that. Commendable. Served your country and all that. Some guys, different personalities, they'll take that and they'll use it to benefit. They'll build a business, but they'll contribute and they'll pass on those skills. Nothing wrong with that either. Wonderful. Absolutely. You're contributing to society and you're helping yourself out in a healthy way. Some guys use it in an unhealthy way and things like that, or self-destruct and things. But I think we have a responsibility to. We were the best at the basics when we were in, and we still need to be the best at whatever we do when we get out, whatever that is. Be the tier one at the things we do when we get out.
100%.
But I fucking at least we try.
Yeah.
Sometimes we fail, and then we fall to the wayside. But at least always come back to the center. Stay in the circle,
Yep.
and keep coming back to where we belong. I got 5 questions here for you. If you got a second,
Yeah. Let's do it.
what is your response to thank you for your service?
Oh, yeah. To see, I literally no bullshit. I do render that thank you back, but I do tell them I loved everything I did. I loved all the people that I worked with, and I would do it 10,000 times over and over again.
Yeah. Yeah, a couple people have said that. I didn't, thank you, I appreciate it, but I didn't do it for you, which is
Yeah.
a weird thing to say because in a whole, it's like this country and service and thing, but you kind of got to be in and experience it because the level we go to, it's a lot of times you're doing it for me.
Well, I mean,
You're
but you
there,
are. I
but
mean, you go through selection,
yeah,
you go through the Q course, you're doing it for yourself.
yeah.
And like I said, I love what I did. I appreciate the thanks, but I love what I did. Love working with guys like you. That's the thing. End of story. I love the
Hey,
dudes to my left and right. Okay.
just got to keep yourself surrounded with them after you get out,
Mm-hmm.
right? What is the one characteristic that sets operators apart from the conventional forces?
Their adaptability to deal with certain situations. Because we deal with shitty situations, we deal with good situations, and I think we are there to adapt. We just adapt to what is put right there in front of us, and I think we handle it a lot better. I know we handle it a lot better.
We do handle it a lot better. We're expected to handle it a lot better, right? That's part of the gig. Is you're supposed to be the guys that get called when shit goes sideways, and you better be able to fucking deal with it. What is the one moment of your career that you wish you could go back and relive or redo?
Instead of joining the Navy, I should have taken my father's advice and joined the Army. I'm dead serious. I probably would have went the same route I did, older, but at least I would have been younger in that infantry capacity, being that young 11 Bravo, working my way to where I need to be, and doing those other things, like going to ranger school. That would have been great when I was 21, 22 years old. I graduate the Q course at 29, just got to get done with the Q course. It's like, bro, I'm not going to ranger school at 29. That was, I think, joining the Navy was my biggest regret, because I wish I went into the Army instead. And maybe instead of a 24-year career, I could have had a 30-year career.
Maybe, maybe not.
Yep, yep, true that.
Yeah,
Don't know. But maybe I should have
yeah,
taken that path instead. Should have listened to my dad.
yeah. Yeah, it's good advice though. That right there, which leads me into my next question. What is the best piece of advice that you received during your service?
What I learned this, being that young GB, even a young soldier, even a cop. This is the one advice I like tell the newer. I used to tell some of the candidates, especially when I met them outside the selection and stuff like that, and when I try to teach law enforcement. You come up with a plan, you stick to that plan. Do not deviate from what you came up with, because I've seen it a million times. When we start deviating, that's when shit starts damn falling apart. Do not deviate from what you had scheduled planned, because it might not be the outcome you're looking for. Seen it. In fact, you're funny you say this. I had excuse me, had a conversation with a SWAT leader the other day, and I said, "Man, you wanted to go out and do this thing, and you damn near died at doing this." And it was a physical event. And I said, "The plan, your original plan was not that. So why did you deviate?" "I don't know. I thought I could do it, but I wasn't properly hydrated, wasn't properly fed myself." I said, "Then why the hell did you do it? Stick to your plan and execute that plan. We can tweak plans when that's where we come up with our contingencies when something goes wrong. I said, but come up with a plan and stick with that plan because I promise you won't fail. Too many good idea fairies out there.
Oh, right back to selection.
Mm-hmm.
That's my stick to your plan story. Uh, I remember we're down pilot, right? It's it's September. It's fucking hot, and we're tired. But we had a good team. We had a good team. You know, you need 4 on each side. We had 17 dudes, 1 in rotation, and all right, private wards up there. I was like, guys, I know what we're gonna do. You know, I had the cheat code because I've been here before. I didn't make it to team week, but I knew, you know, through the
Mm-hmm.
grapevine. I was like, what if we're gonna do? We're here. We're gonna stop here, 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 and here, but we're gonna fucking book it to those stopping points every time. And right before this, the cadre goes, "All right, guys, this is task condition standards. Make a plan and stick with it." And he says that, right? So we do. We get it on. We're hauling ass to the stop point, and we stop 5 minutes each time when we get to those points because we're expending a lot of energy and we're resting. Well, the cadre's getting pissed with us that we're wasting too much time, but we're way ahead of our time hack. And finally, at the last stopping point, he's like, "You guys are," because I mean, we're right there. We're still 2 miles, but you can
Yeah.
see the top of the runway where we're done. It's still 2 miles away because we're down by the lake, right? And he's like, "We're right here. Fucking pick it up." And I go, "But Sergeant, you told us to stick to the plan." And he goes, "God damn it, I did say that." They got. He's like, "You got me." It's like broke character, and he like turned around and walked away. He
Yeah.
knew he didn't have a response to that. So yeah, so stick to your plan. I like
Yep.
that. Last one, man. What were you afraid of then, and what are you afraid of now?
You probably heard this a million times. Failure. Failure, right? I set out to do something. I didn't want to fail. Especially, I left the department, the highway patrol, and it's like, I am going to do this, right? Didn't want to fail. I wanted to prove, especially seeing them like 2, 3 years later, I did this. And they were like, "Yeah, man, we knew you would do it." No, not necessarily. You didn't know I was going to do it because it fucking sucked. It was hard. There's a lot of effort into it, and failing like now is like failing the dudes I train. I don't want to fail these dudes. That's why you know before we train every time I have a POI. I've done rehearsals. I don't want to fail them because I've gone in there before, and Tom and I have talked about it too. Like you're going in there, yeah, we're GBs, so we got our long tab. We're super fucking cool, right? We're dealing with some SWAT dudes who deal with it every single day, right? We don't want to fail in front of these dudes. So we want to put out the proper drills, the proper techniques. We want to answer all their questions because you're going to get a shit ton of whys. Why are we doing it like this? Well, this is why. Oh, okay, cool. But failing in front of those. So, just like failing the Q course. I've failed in my life, whether it be a marriage or buds or someone, there's a failure in there. So you come back, you get that opportunity to do it again. It's like, oh, hell no, I don't want to fail. So you got to live with that every single day. It's like every event you do, did I make the time hack? Did I do this? Did I properly do this Yuli knot within the time? Am I going to get my plus or 3? I get on a team. Did I fuck this up? Did I get all the stuff we needed, the essential items we needed for this thing? I got to do my inventory. Did I get all the stuff that I needed? And it transfers right to here. It's like, oh shit, I got to make sure I put out the proper information to these dudes. That's why I still got checklists. It's like, okay, we went over this, went over this. Let's go back to this because I don't think everybody understood what we were talking about. So failing. Nobody wants to fail. I know you probably heard it 1,000 times, but yeah, definitely failing because in our career, we don't fail, right? We always push to be better and better. It's always about mission success. So I want to do the same here. Mission success prior was me getting through the Q selection, Q course, making it on a team and being a good team guy. And then finally retiring and being a good instructor for these guys.
That's what it all boils down to, right? The same with me in the show. I want everybody to have a come on here and have a good interview, a good conversation, and then people to enjoy listening to it. Like, I don't want to fail at that because I'm really liking what I'm doing. And I think I can, like I've said, I think I can be a fucking top contender for shows. Like, once I get the shit together and once I can do in-person interviews and things like that and build on that, I just want to take it all the way. I know what you mean. I don't want to fail. I don't
Yeah.
want to fail ever again because I've been pretty low the last few years, and I got hopefully got my shit together this time, and I just want to fucking do it.
Yeah,
But
like you said, low for a few years, and this is your way of getting back into that game, right? And you're pushing to be the best. Can you be the best podcast? Absolutely. You know, uh, you can do all of that. It's just how we push. If we fall down, let's get right back up and tweak it a little bit, right? Maybe I need to change this portion. Maybe I need to do this and just keep pushing. You know, it's like we tell these dudes, don't you want to close the gap on the bad guys? Because for years you've been told to run away from the bad guy, you know, close the gap.
yeah,
Just like when we did, we always just charged forward, you know. You brand new soldier in the United States Army rolled that dice and was like, I'm gonna go to selection, man. I've been in the Army for 7, 8 months. Going to selection.
oh, I
You know?
I knew when I saw Sergeant Major wearing those white Oakleys, I got to get the fuck out of here.
Yep.
But all right, man. Paul Heitz, Controlled Chaos Technicians. How can everybody find you on the
We
socials?
got we actually have a website now, Control Chaos Tactics. Just find it on the
Tactics. I'm sorry.
Yep, no worries. You can find it on we got a website. Right now we're just strictly doing law enforcement in South Carolina. Once I get all the boys retired and out here, we'll start expanding that, you know. And like I said, we're there to pass on what we've learned to you. And my biggest thing, Tom and I have gotten, my other buddy from 10th group, gotten really deep discussions about this. Like, think about what we did. You know, we trained, our life was the military. So we trained, did our shit, get ready for our deployments, go to our schools, and then we go out and do God's work when we go downrange, right? These boys and girls are doing it every single day. Like you said earlier, this is an everyday occurrence. At any time, something could happen. So why not give them a few tools to help them out with that, right? Whether it be physical fitness, whether it be shooting, whether it be tactics, or shit, just talking about something you've done. So talking about something you've experienced, like, oh yeah, dude, I had to literally think outside the box when I had to do this. Oh shit. Same thing they do, right? Why not give them that peace of mind? But yeah, and you
Fuck yeah,
find
man.
us on
Somebody's got
Instagram
to.
and find us on Facebook. I'm not a big social
All
media
right. I will
person.
have.
My buddy, my buddy takes care of all that.
That's all right, man. I'll have links to all your socials and your website up in the show description. I really appreciate you coming out, man. Do you have anything for me?
No, Nick, I really appreciate that opportunity to be on this cast, and thank you very much. Had a good
I really
time.
appreciate it, man. I'm glad I did as well. We finally got there. I appreciate
Yes,
you
sir.
coming on,
I
and
know. Finally.
bye, everybody.